back when songs were 5 minutes long and they had instrumental jam out sections at the end. And musicians actually played on the tracks, reaching back all the way to 1989. 1989, little Scotty was 7 years old, growing up in Southwest Ohio, where this R&B duo, Callaway, originated. Cincinnati, Ohio. This tune, I think, was pretty much their only, well, they did 5 albums. They had another song called Let's Get Smooth, All the Way, and You Are My Everything. But that's the only one I know from Callaway. Just like the brand of golf clubs. Good evening. And what's up? Well, another week in the bag. Another week holding a bag, maybe, depending. And well, let's see what's going on. I'm just going to refresh this. I haven't really looked at it. And if you'll pardon me for 1 second, I need to go turn off a fan. This is too loud. Be right back. Okay, so, oh yeah, we have Jackson Hunter. Although not this video, this is new. There's another video down here that I want to look at. Look at this nonsense from Shill Talk Daily. Citadel to get kicked out of the stock market. Citadel, and the image says Citadel kicked out of stock market. That's like past tense. Citadel to get kicked out of stock market. That's like future, speculative. Rico's trying to decide. Look at Rico. He's trying to decide. He looks tired. We got a $4.1 million catalyst, according to StockJ. What do you suppose that is? 4.1 million. $1. Oh no. So it doesn't specify $4.1 million. It just says 4.1 million plus catalyst. Do you think that refers to the old figure that they cited for like 8 months now of 4.1 million shareholders, individual shareholders? And Super Lit, what's up? We may have to find out. There's that illegal, according to YouTube, thumbnail image with the image of a celebrity that doesn't have anything to do with the video. That's not allowed. Keeping a ferret, keeping a wild animal as a domestic pet, that ain't legal either, dude. If only Apish Bambino were here, he could pull out the quote. I'm sure he could pull out the quote more accurately. Let's get the Telegram finance chat connected in here, which I would encourage everybody to join. Boy, that would be a mess if everybody joined that. That would be quite a mess, and that is entirely doable. So if the apes really wanted to mess with me, they could all just come in to my Telegram group and join the live chat, voice chat, and really fuck with me. But I don't think they would do that, would they? So it's squeeze season, TMI. Squeeze season for TMI. Model 3 dude is in the house. Hello, sir. Ortex just announced explosive numbers. This can't be true. Probably isn't then if it's on Ortex. What, like the 100% utilization? That somehow that 100% keeps changing even though it's still 100%? That ain't legal either, dude. $4 trillion expiration today. I mean, who do you suppose collected that $4 trillion? Quad witching. Quad witching. Quad witching. What's the fourth? Thought it was triple witching. You got futures. Futures. Oh, maybe he's counting futures options. I guess. Equity options and index options. Okay. Quad witching. Shorts screwed up big time. Yikes. This is the most anger, flipping out, pissed AMC Ape Father video ever. Scary. Big time. It's not scarier than you can't kill Michael Myers. It's impossible. That was scary. We'll have to watch that later. We'll have to watch that later. Friday Night Live. Oh, Friday Live. Sorry. Not Friday night. What do you suppose he's doing on a Friday night? If only we could find out. We could add that to our binary options bets. See, bet on what TMI is doing on Friday night. Hold forever or take action. John Wick Snipin still believes AMC will not rip organically. Okay. This narrative is becoming quite frayed, if I do say so myself. It's frayed like a Persian rug. You want to listen to the Ape Father rant? You want something scary? Well, we'll get there. Come on now. We can't jump the gun on that. We'll get there. AMC stock, new Wyckoff Mining DD. In 2.5 minutes, you get it. New DD. Apes must know it. It's power Benji. It's Benji bites. I like that. Benji bites. That's what they should call it. He should call it. Or whatever hedge fund's paying him. Oh, the new Mad one. Okay. That'll be in the queue here. Market makers are officially forced to close. AMC stock is about to go crazy. It was 11 hours ago. Market makers are officially forced to close. Forced to close what? Exactly. Vanguard and BlackRock now hold the keys to the short squeeze. Okay. Ape Nation will. I don't know if I've seen him before. Pressure's on. Massive scandal. Butcher of Wall Street, Boss Blunt showing up here. Talking about the inverted bond yield. I wonder if he talks to, well, it doesn't say it. He would advertise it if he did have Dr. Metzler on here. Shares on loan skyrocketing. Oil soars again. Don't do it. Ryan Cohen says, we are cracking down on AMC stock short sellers. Well, that is like several degrees of misinformation. Didn't Ryan Cohen tweet and say the SEC or DOJ or whatever agency du jour they're claiming should crack down on short sellers of GameStop? What does he give a fuck about AMC? Seriously. And what is this stuff in the background here? This looks like stuff that I remember seeing in the I don't even know if I should say. It looks like BDSM stuff in the background. What the hell is that? Like, I don't even know. AMC illusional damage. Illusional. Okay. Where, though, is that AMC, that Jackson Hunter? It's not this one. I knew I would lose it. Oh, I've already lost it. I have already lost it.
Hey guys, it's Jackson Hunter. Today is Saturday,
February. Okay. Here it is. Okay, this is the one. This is the one that really was like, okay, I'm just gonna make a live stream tonight and talk about and at least look at this one here. So Jackson Hunter from yesterday. AMC short squeeze. Cash dividends can be paid out in gold. In gold. You can get your AMC cash dividend in gold. AMC #1 on most bought securities list according to Fintel, and how cash dividends can be paid out in gold. #1 on most bought securities list according to Fintel. What? How is that possible? I saw the Fidelity, at least, stock research today, and AMC was at near the bottom, but yeah, it's 27 of 30. This is just one brokerage, of course, but, you know, kind of gives you an idea of retail activity. And I also thought it was interesting today, too, that there was actually a lot of retail selling, profit-taking going on, which makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Not in Mullen, though. But Tesla... Kid pick? What is kid pick? Nvidia, AMD, barely. Not in GameStop, you know, but Alibaba, Square, Rivian, not Rivian, sorry. Stone Co. What's Stone Co.? Not AMC. No ho ho. You're not going to get profit taking there. But I don't, I don't know. Okay. So maybe once he starts talking about technical analysis and that bullshit, we'll skip past it, or maybe we'll listen to a little bit of it and see how well it sticks, or I don't know. You know, it's Friday night. We'll go 1080.
Hey guys, it's Jackson Hunter. I'm back with another AMC stock update. Today is Thursday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Please hit the like button. Please smash that subscribe button. I love and appreciate you all. AMC stock was basically flat on the day, down 0.26%, ending the regular trading hours at $15.19 per share on a very low volume of 22.8 million. So AMC stock just consolidated, hit an intraday high of $15.60 around there. Intraday low of $14.65, and then pushed up in the last 30 minutes to an hour. And then also I'm going to show you in a second, but AMC and GME, they dropped at the same exact time in after hours. So I'll show you that in a second. It's really interesting. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do not make investments based on what I say in my content. If I pull up the heat map, you see a big limit sell order at 1560, which makes sense because price got rejected right at that point.
Interesting.
And then this level makes sense as well.
But, you know, I was recently reading about Bookmap, and I came across some, I think it was Reddit posts on, not on AMC stock, it was on other investing subreddits. And somebody said that they've actually been losing substantially more money since they got Bookmap. and they were wondering if anybody was actually profitable with it, which I thought was like kind of interesting. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not, because it's expensive. You have to add a feed to it and stuff. But anyway, yeah, people are losing money with it, which I think is probably true with Vortex too.
I order at $15. Looks like it propped it back up. and it just bounced around in this zone right here. And then you have a limit buy order at 1450, but that was not touched, obviously. And then an after hours, a big limit sell order at 15.
Because all of your audience understands what they're looking at here, right? So I'm just, you know, trying to, these are limit orders that are existing in the order book. So it's mapping the book, essentially. I'm not sure what the ghost ones are back here. Maybe they're just fewer shares. Maybe this is the number of shares. And then that would be how long they were on the book for. Or maybe the colored in ones are ones that were, yeah, colored ones, ones that are not this blue color, maybe are ones that actually did go through, I guess. But what about these up here? Anybody familiar with Bookmap?
Okay, and then if you go even lower, huge limit buy order at 1410. Check this out right here. So AMC stock, right when the bell rang, it dropped from $15.19 all the way to $14.77. Now that's a couple percentage move. I don't know off the top of my head, but look at what GME did. Went from $87.70 to $78 right at the bell. They both had the same drop.
Well, I wonder why.
Now, why would they both have the same drop? Probably because they're in the same basket of stocks and they move together frequently. Check this out from Fintel, terrible company.
What the fuck? Okay, and then he goes into this editorialization.
And they move together frequently. Check this out from Fintel, terrible company. AMC moves to #1 slot on retail funds flow after mining acquisition announcement, indicating retail support of strategy. So #1 on most bought securities according to Fintel. #1 by a good margin too. And then this is a really interesting.
Okay. How is that possible with the volume numbers that were acquired the last couple of days? I would question that. Isn't Fintel kind of a, I don't know, terrible company or something? Overnight stop loss on the Bookmap. The background ones. Most bought with 31.9 million volume today. 24.1 yesterday. 39.1 Wednesday, 40 million Tuesday, 32 million, 32.9 Monday. Retail funds flow. Some of these other ones I could believe. Occidental Petroleum, not OxyContin. Ford, Wyckoff Mining, that Chinese one, I think. But, where is it? Yeah, 10-cent holdings. Share percentage funds flow. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if anybody can explain this, but I certainly don't see it.
#1 by a good margin too. And then this is a really interesting article from Business Insider talking about cash dividends paid out in gold. So this is from 2012. Gold bullion.
Oh God, it's been a while since I've actually caught anybody doing this. I haven't on the new channel yet, but did on the old channel quite a few times. Short the VIX. Now, if you come to this article right here, now this is from 2018, or better yet, they don't say. At least he said it was from 2012, but I mean, now you can get your cash dividends paid out in gold. will allow shareholders of dividend-paying publicly traded companies. Well, that's not AMC, is it?
Dividends paid out in gold. So this is from 2012. Gold Bullion International announced a new service that will allow shareholders of dividend-paying publicly traded companies to accept their dividends in physical precious metals, according to a new release. Gold Resource Corporation, an exploration stage company, is the first to have jumped on board the program. Would Adam Aron and AMC do that with their new investment into HYMC? Only time will tell. Love you guys so much. I'll see you for tomorrow's update.
That's it? Wow. So, yeah, first of all, it has to be a dividend-paying publicly traded company, which AMC is not. Fool's Gold. Yeah, let's pay them out in pyrite. That will work. That will work. Gold Resource Corporation, an exploration stage company, is the first to have jumped on board the program. So I guess they're paying their dividends through Gold Bullion International. But the fact that AMC invested in a gold mining company, I mean, that's really the only connection, because there is no dividend, and they're not really in a position to pay a dividend, and neither is the Wyckoff Mining. So, yeah. And then I think the update he's talking about is either this one, the GameStop NFT announcement, which, awesome. The NFT marketplace, cool. That's what I want to buy with all of my extra money that I have right now. You know, after I buy gas and food and cat food, if I can find it. And how AMC could get rid of debt? I'm kind of curious. It's real short. It's a real short video.
Hey guys, it's Jackson Hunter. I'm back with another AMC stock update. Today is Friday, March 18th. Please hit the like button. Please smash that subscribe button. I love and appreciate you all. AMC stock was green on the day, up 4.02%, ending the regular trading hours at $15.80 per share on a volume of 31 million. So
wow,
obvious
nice
uptrend. You got higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then in after hours it was spiking up
higher
a little
highs,
bit.
higher
So
lows.
it looks like it wants to go up higher. So let's pull up the heat map. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do not make investments based on what I say in my content, but you guys already know that. So we got a big retail limit sell order, excuse me, not retail, a limit sell order at $16. Looks like that
and not only that,
have gotten touched in right before the bell at the end of the day. Big limit sell order at 1580 and also 1590. So basically a wall of sell orders to not let AMC go over 16 bucks, which makes sense because it closed right below that. And then a big limit buy order at $15 psychological level. And then obviously it's in this upwards channel all day. Check this out right here. SPY was up again 1.1%, up 0.18% in after hours. So if you look at it on the 5-day, it started at 421, ended Friday at 444. So it's on a pretty decent run right now. This is the 6-month look. So you can see from January, it was in a downtrend, but we're all the way up here now. So I'd say if it gets past 457, it would really show a lot of confidence in the market, self-confidence in the market. But it's already over 437.
If there's one thing that Wall Street has, oops, what did I do? So, oops, well, that was dumb. If there's one thing that Wall Street has, self-confidence. But yeah, I mean, this is not. I'm not doing a SPY update, or a market update, but just, kind of general commentary, like kind of a WTF moment, in my opinion. That's the opinion part. But the real test is Monday.
that mark that I said a couple days ago that I would like to see it get over, and then probably come down and retest 437 and continue onward and upward. If you look at it like this, in the grand scheme of things, look how small this looks on the 5-year chart. So not quite the decline that you saw with the COVID crash, definitely not as steep, but a significant, you know, pause of the game or halftime of the game, but it looks like the game wants to continue. Okay, check this out right here. This is from Anderson 9520822 from AMC Stock subreddit. This is awesome, man. I typically don't like to give exposure to media outlets that I think are liars. So this one is awesome, though. It says under AMC on...
Well, of course, because it's bullish. Duh. Right?
RH, I think Robinhood, the article says stock falls after GME earnings, but when you open the article, it actually changes to stock rises. So this is from Barron's. So this is what it looks like on Robinhood's app. I wouldn't use Robinhood if I were you. It's a terrible app, terribly fraudulent. They do criminal things. So
do they, Jackson? Do they? I mean, technically, if you want to get technical about this, and I know he does, that's probably something that you could get sued over if they wanted to be dicks about it. I don't think Vlad would really sue Jackson Hunter over this, but you just alleged that a firm is doing criminal activity. There have been lawsuits about taking away the buy button that have been summarily dismissed, if that's what he's referring to. But you know that legal system is just all rigged, just like the market. You know, it's this big conspiracy, transcends institutions. It's just everybody. It's like kind of like the Illuminati, Bilderberg, whatever, Davos, all that stuff. It's on that level. Like they've all agreed to this. But man, if I were Vlad, I would go after this guy just because I could. If I could, I'd talk to my lawyer first, of course. But I mean, come on, like his little parenthetical opinion statements in here. Oh, Fintel, terrible company. Robinhood, terrible app. They do criminal things. I don't like to give exposure to media articles that lie. Then why are you doing it? But he's going to call attention here to this.
So this is what it looks like on Robinhood's app. I wouldn't use Robinhood if I were you. It's a terrible app, terribly fraudulent. They do criminal things. So it says AMC stock falls after GameStop earnings, what it says about the meme trade. Then when you click on it, it says AMC stock rises after GameStop earnings, what it says about the meme trade. Man, they're not even good at being incompetent. And then check this out. If AMC Theater...
Yeah, that he would know a lot about that. But, I mean, didn't it do both? So it did fall after the GameStop earnings, and then it rose after the GameStop earnings, and this was from 5 hours from whenever the screenshot was taken, and then you have this other article. So how do we even know it's the same damn article? It's probably updated. Yeah, look, updated March 18th, 10:24 a.m., original March 16th, 2022, 6:20 a.m. Or I'm sorry, is that 16 or 18? I can't tell. I mean, I'm even on fucking 1080, and I can't tell. But maybe 18 on both. But so it was updated. He's laughing though. Updating is things they don't know. That's not in their vocabulary. God.
Man, they're not even good at being incompetent. And then check this out. If AMC Theaters issues a cryptocurrency, this is in my words, I have a feeling millions of retail investors from around the world would buy it up quicker than you can put it up for sale. Revenue could be used to pay off debt, back it by gold, and you wouldn't have to deal with the worthless dollar. Maybe there's a solution for you. Love you guys so much. Have a beautiful weekend. Peace.
Yeah, solid plan. He should go back to the sports coat, nice clothes. I swear there was one time he looked like a damn funeral director. I think it might have even been the Astro interview, because you had Jackson dressed nice and then Astro, like Mr. Rockstar, you know, doing his thing. But you know, I did a lot of videos before, and I managed to recover some of them. So just because it's Friday and I feel kind of lazy, here's one that I did. If it actually
At
plays.
this point, the squeeze is inevitable.
Oh, it's not showing. Oh, I love when they use these. That's weird. Why is it not showing me? It's like, no, you can't do that. You cannot do that. That sure is odd. OBS is a terrible app. I wouldn't use it if I were you. OBS, terrible app.
So first off, at this point, the squeeze is inevitable. Number one.
Oh, I love when they use these posts. Oh, shut up, Scott. Okay. So what's going on out there, Model 3 dude? What's happening in your neck of the woods? What's happening? Are we having fun yet? Can I open it with something? That's so weird. It's not literally just this blank black. Huh. That makes me sad.
So first off, at this point, the squeeze is inevitable.
All right, okay. Maybe got it now. Maybe YouTube's like totally banned my content. What in the heck? Now I'm not down. Now I have nothing. Okay, Hedgies, this is fun. This is funny. Okay, all right. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. There we go. Okay, there we go. So this video that I did, this is from back in August 2021. And some of the videos were terrible. Some of them were actually pretty good. This one's not bad, I don't think. So
first off, at this point, the squeeze is inevitable. Number one.
Oh, I love when they use these posts that are just lists. These lists of catalysts like this, however many they can think of at the time. This one's 9, a list of 9 catalysts. So we'll let Benji list them and we'll comment briefly on each one.
So first off, at this point, the squeeze is inevitable. Number one, the shorts have not covered.
Well, that's not true. I have multiple videos on the differences between short positions and long positions, how short positions profit and why. You can even see in the Ortex data shares being returned. That indicates short positions being closed, bought to cover. Short positions are cyclical in nature. That's not short and hold, and I have some links for that. Okay, number 2.
Number 2, all apes know is buy and hold.
Buy and hold is uninformed investing. It's inactive trading. It is set and forget, whereas active trading, informed investing, is like going into a casino where you know which machines are more likely to make you money that day. Buy and hold. It is going into the casino and putting all of your money on black on the roulette wheel. Number 3.
Hold. Number 3,
analogy.
apes on the float, probably multiple times over.
Well, that's not true. Even according to AMC's own data, which was recently released. Number 4.
Number 4, big institutions all of a sudden piling in. These are not our allies, but they know how to make money.
Well, they know how to make money, and they're not our allies, but they are not all of a sudden piling in. What has all of a sudden happened is 13F filings have come out indicating second quarter positions, i.e. April, May, June. June 30th is the date of record. June 30th is the last day of the second quarter. Second quarter 13Fs indicate the positions that were held by an institution or a fund on the last day of the quarter, June 30th, 2021. They have a 45-day period in which to report those positions. 13F filings can come out up to 45 days after the end of the quarter, but the numbers that are reflected on those filings are for the quarter end of quarter, June 30th. It does not reflect anything after June 30th. And that has been completely misrepresented by almost every YouTuber that has talked about 13Fs. Well, except for us. But anyway, continuing. Number 5.
Number 5, Kenny G is moving funds to the Caymans, probably prepping for bankruptcy at Citadel.
Well, hedge funds and institutions often use offshore accounts. I'm not saying I agree with it. However, it happens every day. It's more or less normal. Learn about the market and grow up. Whenever you see something that's offshore, it does not mean that there's nefarious illegal activity. That is a stereotype. It's ignorant and it's uninformed investing. Continuing, number 6.
Number 6, lots of new regulations put in place for specific situations to stop the market from imploding.
While it's true there may be connections, I haven't seen them made. And think about this. How many people were looking at the FINRA, SEC, DTCC, etc. filings last year or the year before? How many filings typically come out in a year? What types of things do they address? Nobody was looking at them before 2021. And then Charlie started hyping them all up, and then nothing fucking happened. And now you don't hear about them anymore. Well, I guess you did hear about that March 3rd stuff, but then that was even met with skepticism, and then nothing happened. And then I doubt that there'll really be much more talk about filings and regulations. That's my guess. That's my my speculation. But Apple had an offshore account. And I hear it starting to rain here. Cool. It's confirmation bias in interpreting anything as super bullish, even though filings and regulations were passed long before AMC was a short squeeze candidate. So, continuing. Number 7.
Number 7, regulations getting pushed through fast.
And again, no connection to AMC, no indication of the usual timeline of implementation for these types of filings. Everyone just started paying attention to it this year. They don't know what the norms are, what normally happens. It's just being interpreted super bullish for AMC as usual. Number 8.
Number 8, RRP consistently hitting over 1 trillion.
Again, this is just a function of the economy, what's happened in the last year and a half, the government's response, etc. I would like to see the specific research connecting this directly to AMC. I haven't seen that. While there may be connections, it's being largely assumed and speculated on, and so is just a speculative catalyst like most of these. All right, and number 9.
Number 9, inflation rate was over 5%. 3 months in a row. Last time this happened was during the 2008 crash.
So that's a very disingenuous statement. That's a very overgeneralized statement. These comparisons to 2008 are disingenuous. They are speculative. They're ignorant, really, in nature. And I found an article that talks about this. So this is from August. Now this is proving to be wrong simply because of what happened. So that's a disclaimer. This 11th and Reuters. I'm just going off of what people were saying. It's only a 4-minute read. I'll let you read it yourself, but I'll look at some highlights here. U.S. consumer price increases slow in July. Signs inflation peaked. If only that U.S. consumer price increases slowed in July, even as they remained at a 13-year high on a yearly basis. And there were tentative signs. Inflation has peaked as supply chain disruptions caused by last year's events work their way. After that, we had, what was it? Did we have Delta yet? Was this Delta? And we certainly had Omicron after that. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, there was more pain to come. Through the economy. The data could provide some support to Fed officials who've repeatedly said that the current burst in inflation is temporary and likely to fade as a handful of categories that have caused inflation to surge in recent months get back on an even keel. You get some of these numbers here, the correct numbers. The CPI increased 0.5% last month after climbing 0.9% in June. In the 12 months through July, the CPI advanced 5.4%. The drop in month-to-month inflation rate was the largest in 15 months. Price for used cars and trucks, which accounted for an outsized chunk of the inflation boost in recent months, rose 0.2%, a sharp drop from the 10.5% increase the prior month. Prices for airline fares also edged down. And scrolling down, inflation seems to have crested and should drop back in coming months. Richmond Fed President Thomas Barkin told Reuters in an interview on Wednesday. And so we see that different sectors of the economy reacted differently to the events of last year and are necessarily on their own recovery paths. So generalizing about inflation is essentially reflexive FUD that is attempting to tie the health of the broad... reflexive FUD. I forgot about that. I forgot about reflexive FUD. So reflexive FUD was a term that I coined referring to FUD that originates from within this community, that is directed back towards this community. So, like when they talk about shorts haven't covered, that's a classic example of reflexive FUD. These misunderstandings and assumptions that, not from the mainstream media, but from apes themselves, what seem to be apes. I mean, although a lot of, even if they were plants that have infiltrated the ape movement, would still be reflexive FUD, because as far as the apes know, it's coming from someone in their own community. So, reflexive FUD. Broader economy in an inverse way to the price of AMC stock, with the insinuation that if the economy crashes, AMC stock will still... Inflation is... So we see that different sectors of the economy reacted differently to the events of last year and are necessarily on their own recovery paths. So generalizing about inflation is essentially reflexive FUD that is attempting to tie the health of the broader economy in an inverse way to the price of AMC stock, with the insinuation that if the economy crashes, AMC stock will still squeeze. There will still be enough money to pay the apes $100,000, $200,000, $500,000, $1 million per share. This is just nonsense. It's irresponsible. And it's time to wake up from this delusion. It really is. We need to start looking at this like adults. And when these Reddit repeaters like Menji parrot these posts over and over with all these fake catalysts, it really does not behoove anyone for me to go through each of these on a detailed basis, because it's all the same stuff. I put links to my videos talking about it and any articles that I referenced in the description. Come check out the finance chat. It's on Signal. Links down below. Oh, wow. It was free chat about finance topics, the stock market, anything you want. We've got a few people in there. Always room for more. Come on in, say hi. What have you got to lose? If nothing else, just lurk around and and laugh at us. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Questions, comments, leave them below. Otherwise, have a good week.
At this point, the squeeze is inevitable.
Oh boy, those were fun times. These is good times, man. These is good times. Ah, yes, the summer of 2021. Wow, I'm like TMI over here. The owner of the Chicago Bears. I had a lot of time on my hands back then. Wow, that's taking me back. Right. Melissa Lee speaks on the short squeeze. Really? Really? Matt Stoner.
What is going on, guys?
Matt Stoner.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining us today and for your support. My name is Matt Stoner. Today, I'm back at you with yet another AMC video. Lots to talk about. We're going to take a look at the other side of naked shorting, not just when they're trying to put a company out of business, but when it is arising, how they can use this against us and more. But before I get into the video, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button. Now, guys, you may have heard.
It's going to be good. God.
Portfolio.
Why can't he get a real microphone?
If you are as well, I highly recommend checking out FTX.
Lecture hall or something.
Months, but also in the way that they're able to manipulate the stock price and drive it down in a consistent 14 months.
Wait a minute.
In an AMC point, we are.
Wait a minute.
I highly recommend checking out FTX. All right, guys, by this point, we are pretty much experts on naked shorting, especially given how much of it we've seen in AMC.
What? I mean, come on. Come on, dude. What the fuck? There's never been any evidence for naked shorting. Oh, the FTDs. Home Alone thumbs. I just haven't heard anybody talk about Melissa Lee in a while. Since like the last video of mine that we watched, like that's when they talked about Melissa Lee all the time. June and July of last year. August maybe, but like CNBC and Melissa Lee lied about naked shorts. Yeah, 2 times. It's not just for when a stock dies, but when it's born. When green shoe options aren't enough for underwriters, naked shorts get weaponized during IPOs. Now, who is this? Throwaway Lurker 012.
Through the number of fails to deliver that have shown up in the last 14 months, but also in the...
There you go. Fails to deliver. We know that, and this is stated in multiple places, even by Ortex, they provide FTD information. You can get it for free, though. There really is no advantage to Ortex on that. Fail to delivers are not necessarily an indication of naked shorting. I've been fighting this one the whole damn time that I've been doing this, but God, I mean, it is easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled. 100%. That's the biggest thing that I've learned doing this. Not that I really even thought that I could ever change anybody's mind. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. But calling these fucking charlatans out, the fact that they get to just come on here and say whatever the fuck they want based on some goddamn brain dead fucking post from Superstonk, okay? That's outrageous. That there is no attempt to verify anything. No attempt to call anybody out. No attempt to do anything other than be fucking bullish on these stocks. It's outrageous. Fucking outrageous. And this guy, I mean, I could pull it up. He's an actor. He is literally an actor with a demo reel on YouTube. You can look it up. Matt Stoner actor demo reel. You'll see it. And he's as good there as he is in this, pretty much. Also, he hosted I don't know if he still does. I think when they came up with the Finance News grift, they stopped doing the other podcast, which I can't remember what it was called now, but you can find that too if you search for Matt Stoner. Anyway, I just want to see what they're trying to claim here.
The way that they're able to manipulate the stock price and drive it down in a consistent basis. We also probably all remember when Melissa Lee on CNBC brought up naked shorting in an interview and effectively revealed that it was happening in AMC. But what we missed was the fact that there were actually 2 sides to this coin.
No, what you missed was the fact that they weren't talking about naked shorting. That Melissa Lee's dumb ass said naked shorts when the guest wasn't even talking about naked shorting. He said selling stock that they don't have. borrowing stock that they don't have. That's the definition of short selling. But, yes, nobody cares. Welcome to YouTube. I get it.
Only explored one of them. Now, once again, this is a very long, very deep dive. I'm going to go ahead and do my best to consolidate this as much as possible. But this shows how naked shorting can be used in the inception of a stock with
look
an
at their
IPO
example.
or SPAC merger. So
in 2000, Goldman naked shorted its own stock during an IPO and got caught in a short squeeze. In 2000, I mean, what's the difference between now and 2000 besides 21 fucking years? Oh, maybe the fact that naked short selling wasn't illegal in 2000. I mean, maybe there's that. Maybe there's that. What's up, Manuel? That's, possible. They never seem to remember that. This is so dumb. Ugh, God. Let's hear Lou's grift.
What's going on, my silly little motherfuckers? Welcome to spring in New York. Okay, that being said, let's move on to the markets. One, nothing going on. Why? You know why.
You know why.
Anyway, I want you to calm down, because whether you're an AMC or other stocks, the way it's been working out is we follow this pattern, and then you'll see the spikes next week to release the pressure. It's just that's what's been going on and on and on. But please understand something. Every one of the meme stops, because that's what everybody on this channel is on, which there's other things, but nonetheless, I'll talk about that as well. Each one of them has their days where they have their run. So you have to understand that you will have the run on this. It's when they're deciding it, because at the end of the day, like I said,
these volume
all the
levels,
all the things, even possible what was...
Let me just say this. At these volume levels, the price action that has been observed, this is short covering. I know the apes don't want to hear that because shorts haven't covered. Notice that in the video from last summer that Manuel missed, that one of my old videos that I managed to dig up, I was fact-checking Benji. It was a Benji bite. Benji bites. Or Benji. Like that Kristen Wiig character on SNL. They were saying that then. They've said it the whole time. And I've been sitting over here waving my arms like, right? Shorts haven't covered. Right, okay. So, they still don't think that. They still think that the short positions have existed since the stock was like $5 last year. It's totally delusional. Totally delusional. Hello, Chris. But anyway, we can see the difference between like low volume days, which is like this whole week, and actual volume like February 1st. And I mean, you kind of got to go back pretty far. February 17th, other days where I don't know why these are highlighted. They shouldn't be. Probably from a different time when the table got shifted down. But all this low volume is not, it's saying that retail investors are not engaged. They're not buying the stock. Essentially, yeah, some are, but you see it on here too. 1,700 buy orders on Fidelity. The highest stock was Mullen, and it had almost 10,000 buy orders. So, down pretty far. 17 of 30. Although, according to Fintel, AMC is the most bought security. I don't figure that one out. I don't know what the hell they mean by that. After what, the gold mine catalyst. That's what they said. That's what Jackson Hunter showed. But anyway, on a day like this, when you have price action like you had, and we won't know until Tuesday, to see the Ortex data that would reflect today's covering return shares. And I don't even know, I'm starting to wonder if that's even accurate. I really am. Because if you only had 1 million, let's say it's one of those days when there's 1 to 2 million shares borrowed. That happens a lot. And there's about the same amount returned, maybe a little less. And that allows the short interest to creep up. And you see the price action that happened today. Somewhere here. Yeah, we don't need that. Like, there's several points in here where just looking at patterns and candles, like this right here is not retail. That is not retail. I don't even have the volume on here. Like these huge volume spikes. Here's another one. Unless over on AMC stock subreddit, and for that matter, these. These two candles here. So my opinion is I'm going to go full tinfoil. There's significant short covering. I think Ortex is over-reporting the short interest data at this point. I do. I think I do. Think that because we're not seeing enough return shares. I mean, I guess we could look at today over here real quick and then go back to this Lou video, but closing bell update. Here we go. Sweet. Now, keep in mind, this is only going to reflect 2 days ago, so that would be Wednesday, because it's T+2. T+2 is in effect. So this is Wednesday on 15-minute candles, and then Wednesday had 39,000 of volume. So that's more than today, but they're saying that you only had less than 700,000 returned shares. A net change of minus 370. So it's strange. And also, just since we're here, like this utilization at 100%, even though the estimated short interest today, they're saying, where is down. It's not 100% anymore. It's not, just by virtue of numbers. 21.2, 21.23, free float on loan, 35, estimated short interest 109. They don't have that one here. Anyway, shares on loan is 135.22 million. That represents 100% utilization. Unless the actual number of shares that are available to borrow is changing every day, which I suppose it could, because BlackRock and fucking the other one, Vanguard, whatever, whatever. One institution, another institution, doesn't matter to me. They own probably the most shares, like single shareholder. So here's yesterday. I'm just saying that I don't know if we should. I don't know if Ortex can be fucking trusted ever. Their data is not transparent. Here's 134.27 million shares on loan, which also represents 100%. So that doesn't make sense. Let me go back to the 14th here. Closing bell for the 14th. $127.93. So you're talking about what? 8 million, 7 to 8 million shares difference. Still 100%. What in the fuck? And it even says here that was a 1.77 change from 7 days ago. These numbers are changing up to the current one here. 135.22. But it's also 100% utilization. How is that possible? Why does nobody care? Why does nobody seemingly care? Well, because it's 100%. That's good. It's super bullish, right? Are those non-return share being held overnight and dumped at open the next day? Could shed some light on the drop off at open. Well, so these shares that are borrowed shares. This is the curious thing, because when retail brokers when retail investors short sell a stock, and you submit an order like on Fidelity or Thinkorswim or wherever, Interactive Brokers, you submit the sell short order, gets submitted, and as far as you can tell, the shares are sold. Then you collect the money for those shares, gets added to nominally to your brokerage account at whatever price they're selling at now. But because of T+2, the actual stock borrow doesn't take place until T+2, until the settlement. So in that case, if you shorted 100 shares of stock, let's say you shorted 100,000 shares of stock, just make it easy. You short 100,000 shares of the stock, the shares are not going to show up on borrowed shares until 2 days later, because they won't actually be borrowed until 2 days later when they settle. When they settle, that's when the actual borrow takes place. That's when the locate takes place. So what we're seeing here is data that's reflective of Wednesday, essentially. Shit that settled on Wednesday. Shit that was initiated on Wednesday, settling today. Sorry. But the thing is, and Ortex even says this, but it's not on their website, it's in tweets, where Ortex was pressed. They were pressed on it by people on Twitter, and they said, kind of in this circular language, that return shares and borrowed shares do not reflect shares that were borrowed or covered on the same day. So it's not live, first of all. It's not fucking live. It's live as to when those shares are reported as being borrowed or returned, but that is delayed by T+2, so it's still fucking delayed. So there's that. That's misleading. And so when retail investors short a stock, the locate doesn't happen for 2 days. Now, what I don't know is if it's the same for hedge funds using a prime broker. I would be inclined to think that it is, because they're doing their ordering. They're submitting an order to the prime brokerage, and the prime brokerage is the one doing the locate. So really, why would it be any different? So in other words, retail investors you cannot go out and borrow a share and just hang on to it. Retail investors cannot do that. There is no mechanism to do that. We have one mechanism, that's short sell short, or sell to open, and that's all you can do. And if you do that, your brokerage locates it, and it gets settled 2 days later. See what I'm saying? So, according to Mark Cohodes, and take whatever you want out of that, but according to Mark Cohodes, there's no mechanism to do that, and there's no mechanism to naked short. They have the same thing. They can sell to open, and they can buy to close, but there's no like transfer shares to my account and let me just sit on them. Certainly not for retail. I don't think for hedge funds either, but I cannot confirm that or deny it. I can't really say that with a lot of confidence, but it makes sense because the prime broker, their brokerage, their broker dealer, or your retail broker dealer, they're the ones actually finding the shares and initiating that quote unquote transfer. And it's not really a transfer as so much as it's just you're marking down which account it's coming from at which brokerage, and it gets credited, and tagged. There's no physical share, so it's not really borrowed. You're borrowing the economic exposure, really. Anyway, but yeah, I think it is 2 days old, which is really 4 days old, and it's just not like it was sold to them as this thing that's like up to date, like real time, live. When they say live, that's not real time as far as when a share was actually shorted and when a share was actually covered. First of all, they're actually tracking the lending. But what I'm saying is the lending takes place, and the lending is the share that's lent is borrowed is returned on to T+2. So it's never live or real time, as far as I can tell. Now, we also know that Ortex has 85% of self-reported or exchange-reported short interest data. And as I pointed out, self-reported means the exchange, not the exchange, the broker dealers, the agent lenders, the prime brokers, the people that are lending the stock, not the fucking people who borrow it. It's literally stupid to think that, but that's what everybody thinks. That's what the Ortex guy claims, and it's just dumb. That makes no sense. Why would they? Yeah, what incentive would they have to be truthful about it then? That's stupid. And it's 85% probably because they literally don't have deals with every little brokerage firm that's there. Because there's, a lot of brokers that might be lending out stock. They've got all the big ones. So anyway, that's my sense of it. But point being, I think Ortex is, we'll see on Tuesday. But, and I didn't look at the option chain, but last I saw it was just a bunch of shit at the top of it. Deep out of the money, which there's never actually been any proof shown by any of these ape influencers that they even that proves the market maker hedging works the way that they say it does, because there's multiple ways that market makers can hedge their exposure to a stock and options. The simplest being they can adjust the bid and ask prices. So, that's one that changes the fucking delta. So, but they think that if you buy 145 strike calls, it's going to force them to buy millions of shares. I wish that there was some proof of that before they claimed it. Anyway.
What's happening overseas?
Want tangents.
That wasn't a gunshot, so. Oh shit, they got loot. Some motherfuckers be like, yeah, I got them. So relax, you're gonna have the spikes.
Relax.
Just like I was looking at Avis, somebody posted up, springtime. where it was at, how it climbed up to 2 and changed to 3.
We're gonna look at this
That's how it is.
Video
they drag
next.
You through the mud, then they'll offer you a big chunk. You may think that's not a big chunk, but nonetheless, you take that and you carry.
That sounded like a gunshot.
Nonetheless, that's what's gonna happen.
What the fuck is all that noise? Holy shit!
Then they'll offer you
sounds like he's in Cleveland.
A big chunk. You may think that's not a big chunk, but nonetheless, you take that and you carry. Whew, but nonetheless, that's what's gonna happen. So what am I saying in this? Relax. They got to clean out all of these things. It doesn't. It's just they're not going to give you the phone call. But like all the things that I said yesterday, they're happening. The housing market's starting to it's starting to buckle. It's done. It's public.
Trust me, bro.
It's about drudge if you don't believe me. That's it. So you're talking about the housing market? That's mortgage-backed securities. That means all the CDOs that are tied to it and everything else. And the
that may be true. That may be true.
I
don't know.
Loans to go to those homes every day. We're here. For those of you that said, I knew I wasn't around in 2008. You're gonna be.
I mean, I do know that nothing changed after 2008, right? Like nothing substantially changed. So who knows? And I seem to remember at some point. I know, didn't it sound like a shot, Chris? I seem to remember reading something at some point after 2008 that basically said, like, this will happen again. This will happen again, or we're on the path to it happening again, or something. I don't know. Of course, it could also be hype. Because nobody really saw it. Most people didn't see this coming when it happened before. So that makes me question when everybody says that it's happening again, kind of thing, because I'm a contrarian asshole. But, see, Chi-Town in the house, bang, bang. And I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, so we got a lot of bang, bang here. But I have brick walls in my loft, so I'm not really worried about it. And we're not going to hear it.
Motherfucker, this is 2008 2.0 plus. So don't forget that plus part. That's what I'm not even going to say the transmit for that community goes.
LGBTQIA plus.
I got to be very cool and relaxed over the next couple of days, but I'm still bringing the gospel. All right. So just chill out. It's doing some run after markets, but that's just relieving the pressure. You're going to see the pressure releasing on a lot of different stocks throughout the next couple of days. But like I said, money is tight. Things have changed. At the end of the day, everyone's going to have their run. Your play, whichever one is in. If it hasn't hit, understand something. You got to, at the end of this month, you have to be an adult, an investor, and go, okay, I got to park it and look at other things to make money. So if you're inside of something, you make a couple of $100 or a couple of $1,000 2 or 3 times a week. There's nothing, you could do that.
What is Lou talking about with being an adult here and being in other stocks? Oh, that's nonsense. Come on, dude. We know there are 2 stocks. Well, 1, and you're in either one of them. No, all joking aside. I like that he says that kind of stuff because whatever else all aside, he realizes how ridiculous this is. On some level, he does. On some level, he does. More so than pretty much all of the other influencers do. But having said that, just trying to see silver linings here. This is, got to see the good too, if possible. And that's more than can be said about Jackson Hunter and Finance News. So there's that.
Fine. So you do what you got to do on that. So stay calm because the play is still active. The play is still good. The play is something I'm still in. They still have to take care of it. So giant hugs.
Okay. All right. Cool. Still in. It's happening. They are convincing folks to sell their AMC to get in Sundial. Who in the what? Who's buying Sundial now? Really? $71 million. 52 cents. Ended up 1.8 cents today. That's cool. You have any Sundial investors here? Yeah, pass the Sundial, man. Lou would always say it like that. Oh yeah, the Massalorian video. So what we have here is the Massalorian is attacking Lou, and it is very long, but it's good to see apes against apes. So we'll highlight some of it then. Because I don't want to make Hawk concerned here about me doing live streams. So
what's going on, you little stock market motherfuckers? Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Alert, alert. Big fucking major announcement. Lou's next play that I'm currently taking a position in now, and I'm announcing it now, is Clove. Why? Because this beautiful woman here is the type of squeeze play that I've been dreaming about. I no longer have to explain to you the process. I no longer have to tell you what this could jump to, 30, 40, 50, whatever. I'm in Clove. I'm looking for a $500 to $800 stock price right now.
So
buy in, look at it this morning.
Already here, what I can say is so the Massalorian seems to be, he's, saying, hey, Lou has been wrong in the past about AMC stock prices, dates, and catalysts. Do you remember Clove? That was a pump and dump. So then, to the Massalorian, I would say, look, dude, you are doing my job here. You are proving that this thing is a big fucking scam. By doing this, you are proving that this whole thing is bullshit. So, and 11 minutes, that's not too long. So we'll see how it goes. But I mean, yeah, he's doing my job.
Ape Nation, what's going on, guys? It's Friday, March 18th, 2022. I hope you guys are enjoying your day. I know it's beautiful up here and looking forward to the weekend. I know I am. Can't wait to dive into some more AMC DD on Saturday and Sunday.
I mean,
the live stream coming
where's
up.
Hawk? Hawk should be concerned about this guy. That's how he spends his weekends, diving into more AMC DD. What more is there to do? The DD is done, dude. Just watch my videos.
Speaking of the live stream, on Wednesday night, a few questions came up from the audience about GameStop, GME, and their earnings. Most of you who have been with me for a while know I dropped that word catalyst a long time ago, back in the end of the summer, because we had seen so many dates come and go. But in today's thumbnail, I talked about the March 31st deadline. People have reached out, asked me what I think about it. Am I going to stay in the play after that?
Yeah, what DD?
And I just want to put everyone's mind at ease going forward about
DD?
some of the predictions that have come.
Simulated DD. It's simulated DD. It looks like DD. It smells like DD. But it's not DD.
From this person. So today, we're going to go back, way back. To the end of the summer, and we're going to pull out a couple contradictions that have been made by this person so you can see for yourself that there is no need to worry about this date. It is just the mumblings of a madman.
Now, that's an interesting take on this. Like, that's an interesting way to come at that, because he's using it to disprove something that Lou is saying now. But why can't we turn around and use it to disprove everything that Lou has said? In other words, he's selectively applying this, which I don't like. That's not logical. But we knew it wasn't going to be that.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves.
Cue the speeder.
Oh my God. I don't want to be copyright strike for that shit.
For any of you out there who have been my subs for a while or watching my channel, there's probably a good chance that in the past you've seen one of my videos on Lou. I've been known from time to time to do rebuttal videos to some of the things he says, and I've been accused from everything from clout chasing to looking for clicks to jealousy to you name it. Even other creators have used my Lou thumbnails to personally attack him. So our history goes back a while, and always the like to dislike ratio.
Well, what we do around here is not personally attacking anybody. And, you know, essentially it's the same thing, but the difference here is what he's doing, he's still upholding the narrative. So this is like simulated rebuttal or simulated attacking, because at the end of the day they're both saying that AMC is going to short squeeze. So this is like cracked out. This is kind of weird, but
it's somewhere between 25.
But I'm morbidly curious nonetheless. Yeah, straw man argument. Very common for these guys. Very common. I would say so common that it is the default style of argument.
I have a 30-1. So, Massalorian, if you're not doing it for clicks and views or clout chasing, why are you making this video?
Because he believes in AMC, man.
Because this man has become a walking, talking contradiction, he has not only led people astray in the past, but could continue to do so in the future.
Oh my.
And let's go back to the beginning of June, a couple days after AMC had hit its all-time high.
I can tell you right now, I like Lou better than I like this guy. I do. I like Lou better than this guy. You know, as far as who's a better grifter, I don't know. But Lou's better.
$22. Watch.
So Lou's pump? No. And dumping. And I'm like, wait a minute, but if I'm still there as it going down.
Of course he's doing it for clicks.
Then I got dumped.
Yeah.
And I'm still holding my position. So I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a minute. That's a pump and dump? Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Alert. Alert. Big fucking major announcement.
We already saw that video clip.
I'm left. People went in and used it like a scout. They went in, they got money, and they left.
Yeah, exactly, Chris.
So you're telling me that I'm a pump and dumper while I'm still in the position. For the people out there like, no, what about clothes? You got caught in it. That's your fucking problem.
Yeah, pretty
People
much.
went in and used it like a scout. They went in, they got money, and they left. 30, 40, 50, whatever. I'm in Clove. I'm looking for a $500 to $800 stock price right now. With false information to get motherfuckers to come in, as I'm saying, it's a great opportunity. You should come in, motherfuckers. Yeah, and as you're coming in, I'm coming out.
Now, so he's trying to blame this on Lou, and it's like, and I've got some other things like actual investing principles and you know, things like that I want to take a look at too sometime. But at the end of the day, here's the deal. Like, it doesn't matter what anybody else says about anything. It matters what you know, what research you do, and the actions that you take individually. Like, somebody could tell you that some stock is a good stock. You could take their word for it and buy it, and it could fucking dump, go down to zero. It could go negative. That's still your fucking fault. Period. That's nobody else's fault but yours. So I don't really understand. Like, this doesn't make sense to me in any sense. Like, all these people are bitching about it, and it's like, well, you're an uninformed investor, Moscato. You know, unfortunately, Corinne Hall, you're an uninformed investor. I'm sure you're a nice lady. You got a nice, cute-looking cat. Looks adorable. I love cats. But, you know, why are you stuck in Clove 3 months ago? Why were you stuck in Clove? Probably still are, I would imagine. Because it's now $3. Well, it's up a little bit. Oh, okay. So maybe not. I don't know. Oh. Yeah, probably. But, you know, I don't say that to be anything other than just, you know, like that's what people need to kind of do, is take responsibility. And you know, at the end of the day, I don't care what any of these influencers are saying. It's not going to affect my actions in terms of what I'm going to invest in. Unless it's, okay, I can go independently confirm this, or I have the same bias, and I'm willing to take responsibility for what happens. But that's the problem here, is that, you know, Mr. Clean made me do it. Exactly. So the whole premise of this thing, like, you're using this to say that Lou is a grifter. Well, all of these guys, this guy's a grifter. They're all grifters. They're, like, very few, if any, of these guys actually have any value to their content other than continuing to keep AMC investors feeling like something is on that horizon that's going to happen. And all this stuff about dates, oh, dates this, dates, no dates, now there's dates, now there's no dates again. There's never any fucking dates, okay? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would there be dates? You have never invested in a stock before if you think that there are dates that will be observed by the stock market. By the stock market, by fucking Wall Street. The slimiest, slipperiest, greasiest, grimiest, scummiest motherfuckers to walk the planet. They are. They're motherfucking cockfuckers. Why would they observe a date? Why would a date be observed? It makes no sense whatsoever. You can't even say that a stock is going up or down from one day. Hell, from 1 hour, 30-minute period, 1 minute to the next. Why would you ever think that this shit would actually observe a date? Or that this regulation's going into effect on this date, which people don't even know when things go into effect, and there's so many rumors back and forth. It's ridiculous. It's like high school, junior high school. But do you really think that the regulation's going, let's say that it actually is going into effect on whatever, March 31st. That's when it's going to squeeze. The most predictable date that everybody is talking about, that is in all this propaganda and stuff that's used for confirmation bias. Get the fuck out, you know, like, seriously. It's just, you know, like, I don't like to see anybody lose money. For as much of an asshole as I probably come off, if I didn't care at least that much to say, look, you're being scammed. You are being led astray. You are trusting the wrong people. You're trusting people. Let's just take it to that. And I choose to take the approach of looking at these grifters and disproving them, and hopefully throughout that process, because I don't care about people that much. So I'm not here to help the apes directly. I'm here to show that these guys are not to be trusted, and the information that they're putting out is false, wrong, incorrect, and a lot of times it's fraudulent, like we saw with Jackson Hunter. So, I mean, it sucks if you get stuck in a stock that takes a shit all over itself. But that's part of fucking being in the... You said it would shoot from 400 to 800. Now you're talking about a stock that's $3.50, $3.50. If you believed that it was going to be $300 fucking dollars, and the highest that it ever got was what, 30 to, no, not even. You're a sucker. You're a sucker. You believed some bullshit. You bought the timeshare. You know, you whatever, insert scam here, and that sucks. But I would hope that, I don't know, it doesn't really mean that much coming from another grifter to say, look at this grifter, he lied to you. Well, by the way, AMC's going to squeeze.
Dentist afterwards. But anyway, Just saying. For all the Clove pump and dump.
So what was the deal with Clove? I guess we'll really never know if this was just a play on a short squeeze, if he was really expecting it to go to 5 to 800. Did he hold all the way down? Or was it a scalp play like he said later when he probably forgot that he made this video? But he had some knowledge of it because the comments are now turned off on his Clove videos, and that should tell you everything you need to know. Now, I know I'll get down in the comments. Well, what about more recently? Lou hasn't been contradicting himself. Well, let's talk about AMC, the fundamentals of the company. Because if you don't remember, my attitude towards Lou really changed when he dropped this video. Watch.
I'm going to teach you stock market dynamics. You see this fucking place, I know everybody loves it. Oh my God, Lou's inside. Oh my God, let me tell you something. This shit is a dead business model. Yes, people like the movie theaters and whatever, but guess what? Look at this. You understand?
And then it seems as though we've had a change of heart. In just the last 48 hours, all of a sudden, he's saying this about AMC.
The play's not over. Like I said, you can buy, sell, you can do whatever you want to do. You can become a monk and sell beads at the airport. But if you're talking about this play, you gotta look at it for what it is. It is still a company that produces revenue week after week, has a loyal fan base, and is part of the American fabric. Now, my brother was like, hey, why don't we go see Batman at the AMC? I was like, fuck Batman, fuck AMC. I'm never walking into that motherfucker ever again in my life. Giant love, motherfuckers. On average, probably the stock of this company should be around 35 to 50 to 60 bucks, somewhere around there. So technically,
now that is some amazing DD. The company is bringing in revenue, possibly working towards becoming profitable again. It's a part of the Americana. It's woven into our fabric. Totally different story than September 11th when he walked into that AMC movie theater lobby and screamed that it was a dead business model while he supposedly owns the stock and is just in it to help the kid.
Well, I mean, he didn't scream. Only the Ape Father did that. But September 11th was a Saturday. I just looked. So that was a Saturday night in New York, I'm assuming. I mean, I don't really see the problem with any of this. If I don't like something, if I were an ape and I were consuming this content seriously, when he said that he was never setting foot inside an AMC again, I would take that to mean this motherfucking stock is not squeezing, you know, take it in jest, expressing frustration. Like, how do you know he's being serious? How do you really know that? And why does it matter? Why does it matter? It kind of doesn't. So I don't know. Like, this is kind of a stretch to me.
So for those of you out there who are wondering about March 31st, what my feelings on it are.
So now we've laid the groundwork for why Lou is not to be trusted. He's changed. He's flip-flopping. Remember that from the 2004 election? God, presidential election in the United States. Flip-flopping. So this is his swift boat. Veterans for Truth. That's what this is. This is his swift boat propaganda that cost John Kerry the election in 2004. Dating myself with that, but essentially it is. This is his attempt to show that this guy is he's changing. He's lying. You know, you don't know what to believe, and so now we get to this. Okay. Here's the third act. Here's March 31st. So this is what's being said. So
Lou's track record, I'm not worried about it at all in the least bit. He has spent the last couple of weeks scrambling around trying to figure out how to deflect away from the SEC transparency and Mike Gensler. So anything he's saying right now is out of pure desperation. And I hope you guys understand that when you watch his videos. I'm not saying go unsubscribe to him. Just take everything with a grain of salt. If you're going there for the entertainment, pure entertainment, then that's fine. But as far as dates, price, and catalysts go, you guys are smartening up to this enough where you know what's up.
Trust me, bro.
But to those out there who are still watching and still worried about some of these predictions that he's made, please understand none of them have come true.
So the point is to dispel worry.
Moving on to GameStop, the game
So he's trying to dispel the worry there. That is such an odd way to do that. Like, the way to dispel worry is by providing truthful information, respecting your viewers' intelligence enough, giving them the data to come to their own conclusions, and empowering them. And this doesn't do that, really, to me. It doesn't do that. Like, I mean, you know, nothing. I'm glad that Manuel sent it and that we looked at it, but like, you know, I think that this is a fail to deliver. But I don't know. GameStop.
Taylor reported a fiscal fourth quarter loss of $1.94 per share versus the consensus analyst estimate of a gain of 85 cents. Quarterly revenue stood up at $2.25 billion versus the analyst estimate of $2.16. So we actually came in above that, about 10%. They made an announcement about the NFTs.
Oh, there you go.
And it was changed.
So I didn't actually put that in the video I made last night. I didn't put any GameStop earnings analysis in there. But we talked about it in finance chat the other day. And the revenue was up, right? That's what he said.
$5 billion versus the analyst fourth quarter loss of $1.94 per share versus the consensus analyst estimate of a gain of 85 cents. Quarterly revenue stood up at $2.25 billion versus the analyst estimate of $2.16. So we actually came in above that, about 10%.
So quarterly revenue was up. I don't have the 8K form up anymore because I was looking at it through Fidelity, and I don't really, you know, it's something that it's freely available. So, and I'm just lazy right now. But you can look at it and you can see that, yes, the revenue was up. But what good is revenue when your profit margin is down? Profit margin, gross margin, down. So yes, cost or revenue, net sales, higher. Cost of sales, so cost of goods sold, what they had to pay for the things that they sold was higher on a percentage basis. So yes, they sold more, but they made less money, is what that means, which is not good. It's not good. Not good. Not good. But, you know, when you hear billions of dollars, billions and billions and billions, it sounds like a good thing. Well, we took in more money. We took in more billions. Yeah, but you paid out more billions to your vendors, and you paid out a larger percentage of your revenue to your vendors. So that's bad. I don't know how they and that, by the way, that was fourth quarter comparison from fourth quarter 2021 to 2020, as well as fiscal year 2021 ending quarter 4 versus fiscal year 2020. They actually made more money in 2020, which I'm still trying to figure out. I don't really know how, but they did. And their operating expenses were up in 2021. I mean, it really doesn't make any sense. And my opinion, my you know, tangentially informed opinion, it's not a good spot to be in. And then you're going to stake it all on NFT. Well, let's hype this NFT marketplace. Well, isn't there already one that's like the one that everybody uses? I forget what it's called. OpenSea. Is it OpenSea? Or is that something else? I don't see it. But, you know, what you have here is you have original DD that was on GameStop that was based on the pandemic, brick and mortars closing, lockdowns, everything going down, being shorted, highly shorted, forcing a short squeeze, which you had. Now everything's open, and now you're seeing the resumption of the brick and mortar slow death. Slow death at brick and mortar stores. Especially, now you have a brick and mortar store, and the AMC is doing this shit too, where they're diversifying because they have to, but ultimately they're a brick and mortar. So their whole model, their whole conception, their whole business, the word, their whole business is essentially was successful originally because of the physical locations they had. That's not to mean that they can't, pivot or anything like that, but what you have is all this hype that was created around one particular situation, which started in 2020 and ended in 2021. Now, but you have all of these people that are still under the belief that XYZ is still about to happen, so you have to pump every possible catalyst that you can. And it's the same thing with AMC and the popcorn and the crypto and the NFTs and the gold mine and all this stuff. In my opinion, that's what I see here. And when at the end of the day, you're talking about two companies that have had their day in the sun. At the end of the day, is GameStop the future? No. No. Really, no. Is AMC the future? Probably not. Could they pivot into a streaming platform? Maybe. Well, they could. Would they be successful? Would they take down Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, Peacock, Apple TV? Probably not. Probably not. Well, they could get exclusive deals with Hollywood. They could. But you already see that happening in other things. So, yeah. Chris talking about Clove didn't need to be on the Reddit radar. Model 3. Typical advertising show the problem in ridiculous fashion and provide an oversimplified solution. Yeah, that is true. And it's so misaligned, would be how I would say it. Like, it's very desperate. These are very desperate attempts, both on the part of these influencers and on the part of these companies, I think. And now you have a situation, it's like Ryan Cohen has become like this mythological figure, kind of like Elon Musk, dare I say, like a junior kind of guy, like that, like he's a genius and he saves companies and he's successful and all this stuff. I'm not so sure about that, but again, opinion. And well, I mean, and here's another Elon Musk connection. They both bitched about short sellers. Like, the government needs to crack down on short selling at large. And there are countries in the world that do not allow short selling in their markets. And generally, and this has been studied a lot. There's a lot of academic research on this, and generally what they find is that markets that don't incorporate short selling are poorer quality markets. The liquidity is not as good. Prices aren't, it's just not. You need some type of mechanism on the short side. And even in our markets, they've studied it, and you can find whatever you want. You can find articles that say that it's good and that it increases the quality. You can find articles that say that it doesn't really, it's kind of neutral. You can find articles that say that it hurts the quality of the market, but generally speaking, the consensus is that it is not harmful to the market, and it in and of itself does not cause, when implemented properly, fairly, and enforced, it's not, they're not going to run a company out of business with legal short selling. There's only a certain number of shares that can be sold short, after all. So, anyway, but Ryan Cohen and Elon Musk have both railed against short sellers. Why? Well, because the price of both of their stocks has gone down. So, it's like this, entitled fucking rich guy shit, where whatever it is that is standing personally in their way of achieving domination or whatever, that's the enemy, so let's fight against short selling. Well, and in reality, the overall market was down, and Tesla is there have been a lot of developments. Let me just say it that way. Even recently, I saw Tesla employee was fired for posting a video of a Tesla freaking out in FSD mode. So, there's a lot. I'm not commenting on that. I'm just saying there's a lot of things that create a perception that there are problems with both of these, all three of these.
They made an announcement about the NFTs, and it was changed here in this article that they're moving them from April to July. And when they did this report for the fourth quarter, they mentioned that they had hired dozens of people back in Q4 with experience in areas including blockchain, gaming, e-commerce, and technology. So I believe GME is trying to keep up with AMC right now as far as moving forward in the technological world, and they're doing a pretty good job of it.
Oh.
I have no complaints right now. I'm excited for this gag order to come off of Cohen and see what the future holds. And before I let you go, I want to give a shout out to two of my subscribers and John Wick Sniping. That would be Pam the Trader and AMC Airman.
What is Johnny Wick up to these days? So I think that's about it on this one, as far as this video. So yeah, I mean, that what I see happening there, just briefly, like this movement is beginning to, we saw it, we even saw it last year, but from within itself, it is fragmenting, and people like this guy, the Marine guy. We looked at one of his videos before. He's railing against certain things. Phil for real, is telling apes to shut the fuck up, which I'm not an ape, but it ain't happening here. And I would even urge apes not to, I think, shut the fuck up. And they've all kind of done it a little bit, but yeah. This is Martin J. Pring's book, Investment Psychology Explained. I would highly recommend it, and you can find digital copies of it if you're so inclined, or you can buy it in the store. But there's a lot of good stuff in here, but chapter 14 is classic trading rules, and this is all stuff from like classic investment resources. So like 10 rules from Bernard Baruch, 11 rules from Robert Meyer, rules from 28 rules from W.D. Gann. So that's from like 1942. So there's a few of them in this Robert Meyer's section here. Robert Meyer, who is a commodities trader, influential commodities trader in Chicago. But so these rules, like, number one, ask yourself what you really want. Many traders lose money. because subconsciously their goal is entertainment, not profits. And I would add to this, their goal is some kind of social change, not profits, right? If you're serious about becoming a successful speculator, carefully examine your trading to eliminate destructive compulsiveness, such as constantly calling your broker when there's no legitimate reason. That could be compared to checking your brokerage account and putting on trades just to be in the market. Now, this one I alluded to earlier, and it's what made me think of this. Assume personal trade responsibility for all actions. A defining trait of top-performing traders is their willingness to assume personal responsibility for all trading decisions. People who habitually blame their broker, the market itself, bad order fills, or insider manipulation for losses are never successful. Never successful. Keep it simple and consistent. Most speculators follow too many indicators and listen to so many different opinions that they are overwhelmed into action. Few people realize that many of the greatest traders of all time never rely on more than 2 or 3 core indicators and never listen to the opinions of others. Have realistic expectations. When expectations are too high, it results in overtrading, underfinanced positions, and very high levels of greed and fear, making objective decision-making impossible. Learn to wait. You don't always need to trade. Clearly understand risk-reward. Always check the big picture. Always undertrade. Define your broker relationship. Number 10, though, never trade with serious personal problems. Ignoring this rule is a prescription for disaster. The clarity of thought and emotional control required for even part-time speculators is so great that it is impossible to handle along with serious personal problems. Likewise, trading should not be attempted during periods of ill health, even including a bad head cold. Interesting. 11. Ignore the news media. The true goals of the national media are to shock, agitate, entertain, and editorialize a socialist agenda, not provide usable information. Many of the finest traders avoid all contact with public news, knowing how profoundly it can undermine a trading plan. The more important trading profits are to you, the less you can afford to follow the news. So many of these things, the apes just blatantly and brazenly ignore. In these, a lot of these lists of rules, quote unquote rules, or stratagems, or rules, I guess, but they're all very similar in a lot of ways, just kind of rephrased differently. But overall, the overarching message of this book and all of these rules really is to be objective. You have to be objective. You cannot listen to opinions. You can't be influenced by outside influences or all these indicators or lines or these type of things. But I like the one about trading, never trade with serious personal problems. And that could be something like, and I saw this in another rule by someone else here, pay your bills before you trade. Make sure your bills are paid before you throw money into trading. Because, if you're worried about how you're going to pay the bill, then that could definitely be considered a personal problem. So, yeah. So, clarity of thought and emotional control, self-explanatory. And ignoring the media, the fact that these guys use mainstream media articles is really embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So, anyway, let's see, catch up on the chat here. Where does Mass get his info? GME was talking about issuing crypto last year, so GME is playing catch up with AMC. I think maybe he was referring to the NFT thing, but even there, AMC issued the NFTs, but they don't have an NFT marketplace. They don't have a crypto. They have an agreement with BitPay to accept. BitPay accepts crypto and then turns around and cashes that out to US dollars and sends it to AMC, like any payment acceptance system. So that's not really revolutionary. It's like Apple Pay or Google Pay, whatever. And while Tony D takes credit for the AMC crypto and actually suggested AMC bring him on board to show them how to launch said crypto. Really? That does not surprise me. Constantly confusing the difference between coin and token, not differentiating between them. Yeah, he's you know, I don't want to stoke the I don't even want to call it a rivalry, because, you know, obviously Tony has a lot bigger following, but there are reasons for that, because he's echoing a message. He's, you know, supporting a narrative. And Audrey, hi Audrey, says this is refreshing. Thank you. I'm glad it is. So now for something that's not refreshing. Oh man, we're gonna lose,
guys.
Gonna lose viewers on this one probably. It's been a minute since I've looked at Trey. But even people on Reddit,
guys,
even people on Reddit and Twitter I've seen are saying that Trey has gone off the rails. So I kind of wanted to see, you know, a little bit of that. Yeah. If it gets too bad,
how we doing? It's your boy Trey from Trey Trades. Slapping it again. The ask with another YouTube video like purpose by sound, financial advice, not financial advice. Please take a grain of salt. Let's get into the video. So today, my friends, my family,
if this doesn't work out for Trey, you know, he could probably be an auctioneer. I think he's got the kind of the
Great to see the recovery continue as we'd expect. Holy shit. I mean, this is
he's
just
saying this is a recovery. Oh, I love when these guys talk about macroeconomics. I love it.
Disgusting. Don't you dare bite me. Don't you dare. Get it. Titan's been just going ham on my leg today. It's been gnarly.
Here we go with the cat propaganda. He likes to talk about the cat. Cat has to interrupt and be a focus early in the video. I've noticed it's always early in the video. Happened a lot last year too, when you first got the cat. Anyway.
But today the recovery continues on the SPY, and that has correlated to basically every small and mid-cap company that you can imagine. I mean, Microvision's having a great day. COD K, I don't know what the fuck this company does, but they're having a phenomenal day. AMC is up about 4%. GameStop was
all
up on
mid-cap.
the day as well.
Doesn't he mean
up 18% and was up as much as I believe 40 or 50 up to $3.20. Sen up 18%. IMPP, even a gas stock, an oil stock, and oil's been down.
He's such a loudmouth.
Is up on the day. VLD up on the day. I mean, you can just go across the board, throw a dart at a board of small mid-cap stocks, and they're going to be green. You're looking pretty good. So I want to address, going into the weekend, what we can kind of expect moving into next week. And probably the big thing that may throw a hitch in plans was discussed today. And that was a rate hike of 50 basis points. Now, I looked historically because I wanted to know the last time that we saw a 50-point basis hike. And that was a long time ago. So if you come over here and you look at this,
it's gonna get crazy.
It was May of 2000. Since its last 50 basis point rate hike in May 2000, the Fed has increased its policy target by only 25 basis points at a time. It was not always like this. And the reason that this has been pitched in the first place, you can come over here to this article from Fed Governor Waller. He's saying that what's happening in terms of inflation, we may actually require a more aggressive approach for rate hikes, right? I don't actually agree with this. I think a 25 basis rate hike is actually a little more beneficial. I'm going to tell you why. I don't think the Fed will go through with it. And I want to discuss that here today. And I was even put on this by Meet Kevin, but I think that there's an easier way to even summarize this so that you guys kind of, can understand this. I view it as like from point A to point B. Let's say that this is a vehicle right here, and B over here is another vehicle. And between these two vehicles is, let's just say 500 meters, right? Does it make more sense to brake super hard one 2, 3, 4, 5 times back to back to back to back to back, so that you can ease your way into the vehicle, right? That doesn't really make sense to me. What makes more sense, and this would be like a 50-point hike. 50 point is slapping on the brakes a little bit harder. What makes more sense is to tap lightly on the brakes when you're 500 meters away, right? You want a slightly lesser amount of pressure to bring it over to the stop. Otherwise, you're just going to be jerking around. Nobody wants to be sick to their stomach, right? If you're riding in a car and you see there's a vehicle in front of you.
Well, yeah, but you might not stop in time. You might not actually. Oh, good pause. You might not stop in time, and translate it to the analogy of the situation. It might not do enough to curb inflation, but there's debate about whether that will even have much of an effect on the actual inflation that we're seeing. It will historically has the effect of making the equities market go down. That is true. But, I mean, I'm of the opinion that the equities market is overvalued. So 20, 30, 50 points down, to me, is probably getting back into realistic territory. For example. But we were talking about this in the chat earlier, is that there's this inherently bullish bias that there seems to be in the stock market these days. And, you know, it's not like it should reflect reality or actual valuations or anything like that. It's just, it has to go up. It continues to go up. And if it doesn't go up, that's bad. But that's not really the true thing. Necessarily, because, you know, we know where those outsized gains end up going, and they don't go to the average shareholder. Typically, you know, retail investors typically, you know, they don't benefit from that as much as in company insiders, Wall Street firms, institutions, etc. So, am I saying it's a scam? Not in so many words, but, you know, I'm getting away from the point, but he's saying that, you know, this is going to be too much, or this is just slamming on the brakes too much. This could be, you know, not enough. I mean, you're talking about historically low rates, but also raising the interest rates is going to affect a lot of other things, like credit card interest rates, for example. So, you know, who knows how much a 25 basis point, 50 basis point increase of the federal funds rate will affect credit cards. But it'll be more than 0.25%, probably. So that's not necessarily be good either. Anyway, that was 1.25 speed. Yeah, it's Trey's on a lot of drugs. He's talking super fast. Oh, here we go with Ortex. I'd like to hear his Ortex explanation. Oh, look. Here it is. I went back to normal speed. Yeah, then Chris is right. They originally suggested that. And wasn't that correlated to, like, some kind of fear in the market? I can't remember. I think it was. And that was before Russia-Ukraine. Was that here? Was that this September dip? I think it might have been. Because it was before, or maybe it was one of these other dips. I think it was one of those dips. And then we had our all-time highs. And then the 2022 hit. And, you know, retail investors are just catching falling knives here. But now, you know, now we're recovering. Now the recovery's on. I wouldn't be so sure necessarily, but I think that this could be an epic bull trap, whether it was intended as such or it just happens to be like there was a lot of short covering broadly across the market. I think that's likely. Monday, next week, will it stay above 444, 445, that range? That would be more of an indication, I think, than what happened this past week, personally. But again, this is not a SPY discussion, but since he's talking about it, and I trade this.
And it's bled over into small and mid companies that does include AMC. So I do want to give you guys the Ortex data for AMC, which is currently sitting at 21.2% or so. Days to cover is skyrocketing, which is essentially just how illiquid, how little amount of volume is rocking into this thing compared to how many shorts are actually holding positions. If you were to look at IWM, you're going to see a pretty similar situation where shorts really
don't talk about short interest on an ETF, Dre.
As much as they should be. Yeah, down about 1.13% on the day, still 38.12% current short interest and free float, which means that out of all the shares that circulate on a day-to-day basis, 38% of these are shorted in an ETF, right? So I think there's a lot more upside in the macro, right? You look at this 1, 2, 3 months down the line, I think that we haven't seen the peak yet, but I do think, and this is the part that maybe people won't like, I do think you need to see a retracement. Now, I've talked about this before, my theory, and I'll gladly own this if I'm wrong. Trust me, if we never end up tapping the wedge and it just rips all the way back up, IWM rips all the way back up, which means that AMC, GameStop, all the small mid-cap companies rip back up. The theory is still the same. It just means that one of the boxes didn't get checked, right? At the end of the day, it is what it is. I'll admit that that fault.
Will he admit he's wrong about AMC ever, though? When has that ever happened?
But I do still believe you are going to see it, right? It did go above the line in which I have mentioned, but this pattern that you see right now on the SPY is what I like to call a rising wedge. And I'll draw this out. I know most people probably know what this
technical
is.
Fucking analysis. Come on.
Panic. The only reason that I would panic is if it broke beneath that previous falling wedge, which is a sign of an eventual upcoming bullish reversal. And we haven't seen that yet, right? We're still looking pretty squared away and pretty solid, which signifies to me that we're sitting nice. So when I title this video,
okay.
Retracement in either direction. So time will tell. I mean, we've grown.
Time will tell.
I stand
so
firmly
loud.
by what I stated yesterday. You are witnessing the reversal and the rotation into small mid cap companies. And if I can't convince you, just look at
still
these
saying the same
charts.
damn thing.
You can't deny the fact that they both tanked right off the bat in the
after. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Right, I'm not tying AMC.
Here we go.
Yeah. Mullen up 18%. AMC and GameStop suffering a little bit, but to be frank, I think that does come back to GameStop earnings being poor and algorithms swing both of these stocks together no matter whether we like it or not, right? I'm not tying AMC to GameStop. They're different companies. I get that, right? I'm not here to argue one way or the other. You invest whenever you want, but I do think GameStop earnings did play a part in how both of these stocks moved. You can't deny the fact that they both tanked right off the bat in the after hours yesterday coming off of GameStop's earnings release. So I think that in the short term is holding it back, but you can see IWM monstrous move up 0.99%, which is almost as much as the SPY, and that is actually good to see. That in tandem movement means that algorithms are buying small and mid caps alongside large cap companies, because we didn't see that when SPY was ripping back here. You look at all this growth, right? Look at the SPY ripping right here.
He's not really going to talk about short covering at all.
A year ago,
because that's
nothing. Just chop. Really no.
That's a no-no. We can't have short covering. No, shorts haven't covered. But I think that that was very likely the case. So was it legitimate buying, or was it short covering? It's always kind of the question. It's really hard to tell. There's really no way to know, because as far as buying goes, buying is buying. If you're buying a share back, the market doesn't know that when that sale goes through, when that trade is matched. So, man, there are some indicators that you can kind of use, but they really don't work. Nothing that I've found. If anybody knows of anything else, feel free to let me know. But the only thing you can really do is look at the short interest data. But all you have is Ortex, and that, It's questionable as to how accurate that is. Plus, it's also delayed by T+2. So, you know, it's, but ultimately, next week we'll be able to know kind of what was going on. My contention is that there was a lot of short covering broadly across the market. But like I said, we'll have to wait until next week to see.
Growth since February. February was about the most growth that we started off with this.
He's still talking about SPY.
The movement's going to be in the recovery. I just want to let you guys know that it is something that I am going to do. I am going to.
It's interesting that he's spending so much time talking about the S&P 500. I wonder if he mostly trades SPY now. I mean, it's a much more tradable stock, security, in my opinion. Like, you could actually, there's you know, moves, there's volatility, there's the volume, options. So that's certainly, you know, a good thing. But he's not really talking about it, though. He's not really talking about trading the SPY. What is that?
I think I saw a guy had an 11,000% gainer off of COD K. Didn't play it myself, but that was off calls. And man, let me tell you.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, sure. But that, how do you? What is that? You know, like, people always have crazy thing. Like, I don't care what any, you know, really at the end of the day, that's not of any concern to me. There's always shit like this, and are you going to catch it? You might get lucky, but in my opinion, COD K, Eastman Kodak, COD K. That's how he's saying it. COD K. Really, it's KODK. Kodak. Eastman Kodak. The camera people. Earnings. Okay. Right. Yeah. Well, we're on daily, so. I mean, yeah, that would have been good. 450 to 33%. Cool. Yeah, Trey is just, he's all over the place these days. He is all over the place, and you know, it makes sense in a sense, because I think he's trying to. I don't know. He's changed for sure. He's changed what he talks about. He changed the way he talks about it. He talks about macroeconomics. He talks about the broader market. You know, in an accurate way. You know, in an informed way. You know, there's parts of it, but yes, the market moved up, but does that mean that, you know, conditions have really changed? And if you think about it, the inflation squeeze that people are under right now, how to put this, consumers are getting screwed. Everything's more expensive, particularly energy and food. And those are two big expenses that we have, you know. So prices have gone up. There's less money left over, or no money left over, or you're short. Prices are higher. Wages are not keeping up with that. So you have higher prices and reduced demand ultimately happening. kind of a recipe for stagflation, which a lot of people think we're moving into. Not good. Not a good situation to be in. In that sense, then, does it make sense for the market to be truly moving up? You know, I don't necessarily think so. I don't necessarily think so. Especially you have interest rate hikes, you have balance sheet reduction, you have all of this late to the party, what's the word? You have all of this late and ineffective, ultimately not going to be enough of a move probably to really affect it in a substantial way. They waited too long and they didn't go far enough. So again, this is my opinion, but what was the reason for all of these stimulus and low interest rates last year, all through the year? Full steam ahead with cocaine, stimulate. You know, that was probably a mistake. A lot of people think that was a mistake. Many people, I'm hearing that was a mistake. Many people are saying it was a mistake. So now we have to play catch up. But we also have so we were dealing with effects of COVID-19 into the beginning of this year. Still are. But, you know, to less of a degree. So you have that already. That was the big thing. Then you have the supply chain problems associated with that. Now, so, and throughout that period, we still had the cocaine full steam ahead. So we didn't have any, you know, we had all this accommodation. Now, you know, everybody's going back to work. People are back to work. There's a labor shortage, all this stuff. Businesses are hit with supply chain issues, higher costs, cost inflation. Now, trying to play catch up. So we were already behind the 8 ball before. Now we have the situation in Europe, which has put a whole new spin, whole new squeeze on certain commodities, energy, not just here, but globally, particularly in Europe for things like wheat, oil, precious metals, which will ultimately affect. And you just saw Tesla raise prices twice on their vehicles. So again, prices are rising. You're going to see decreased demand, probably stagflation. Not good. So all that to say, you know, does it make sense the equities market will go up? You know, not really to me. You're not going to have, you know, the phenomenon that you saw in 2021 with retail investors having large amounts of cash to throw into the equities market, much of which goes to the market, much of which gets taken by the house. And we see that with AMC. We've seen it with AMC over and over and over and over, especially with the options in the options market. It's just been a complete bloodbath. And indeed, you see firms like Citadel, and they're not the only one, but they're the biggest one, bring in $7 billion of revenue in 2021. So, you know, it really all fits together in that sense. And, you know, Wall Street, of course, is doing fantastic. Average consumers are feeling the squeeze, not the squeeze that they want to feel. But Tommy's here. Been a minute since I've seen you here. It's like going to the casino and hoping it lands on red. When will people learn, invest in great index funds, and hold for many years? The market is so simple. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly true. You know, index funds are, if you are a passive investor and you are a long-term investor, index funds are the best thing. You're just continually adding. Set up an auto recurring buy on that. That's the long-term strategy. Certainly. There are other ways to participate in the stock market. So there's no right or wrong, really. But the point is, are you making money, right? So remember on the Martin Pring thing, what is the reason? Ask yourself what you really want. So traders losing money because subconsciously their goal is entertainment, not profit. So if your goal is to profit in the long term, what Tommy says is 100%, fantastic way to do that. Especially if you work full time and you have a family and you don't have time to sit in front of your computer or phone and frantically watch these candles go up and down and get seasick from it, and have to take Dramamine every day. Absolutely. Active trading is a different style, and I've heard this said too, that everybody has a different style. And part of the challenge of the markets is finding what your style is. So, in other words, if you are a long-term investor, and that's totally cool, that's totally legitimate. But if you're a long-term investor, but your exposure, your influences are more active trading of options, let's say, and you start, you're like, okay, well, let me try that, and you do it, and you continually lose money because you haven't figured out that you are a long-term investor. That's what your temperament matches up with. And conversely, like if you are somebody who seeks excitement and has a high tolerance for risk and likes to make or potentially lose, but you like those leveraged moves like that, and you like to see big moves and short term, then you're probably less of a long-term investor, maybe more of a short-term trader. Then maybe you're a trader, maybe you are an active trader, for example, and that's where I fall more on that spectrum. Certainly, I like the excitement of trading. I like the challenge, the depth of research, the fast-paced nature of it, large moves, volatility. That's exciting to me. But I also try to own what I do. So you see me in finance chat on Telegram, which, by the way, the link is in the description if you want to check that out. Come in and hang out with us and talk about finance and markets and life and everything in between. But complaining about the market and this and that and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, if I'm being honest, what I'm really mad at is myself for doing what I did and not seeing and making the same mistake and et cetera, et cetera. So, and that's really what it is. Like, I can't believe I did that again. Why did I do that? Because I knew I'm fighting my urge not to do this. And I'm like, I can't anymore. And I do it, and then I regret doing it. It's so hard because this is, these things are by design. They're by design. So just to expound on what Tommy's saying there, yeah, that's a good way to do it. Individual stocks. So let me just go this way. I'm more of a trader. I'm a trader, less of an investor. But I generally don't trade single stocks. I trade ETFs, index options, because that's where you have a liquid market, you have a high volume, you have decent moves, you have tradable securities, and so it's kind of a blend. in that sense. But picking stocks is like really hard. Like, it's not really something that I'm interested in doing at all, to be honest with you. Like, that's why I don't do it on this channel and sit here and say, oh, invest in, you know, whatever that, what is that salad restaurant? What was that called? I forget. I can't even remember the ticker. It had volatile moves the last couple days. SG. Sweet Greens, that's it. Sweet Greens. Sweet Greens. Judge Warhol's here. Hello. Where's Hank? Hawk. Probably too concerned about this live stream. Oh, I forgot I'm looking. I'm looking intraday here. So one of the members says, so it was down today. But I mean, you know, it was 8% up, 7% up yesterday. And I don't know if anybody's familiar with this one, but just had earnings, I guess. But so it was sitting up 82%. What happens when we have 82%? 82%. No, typically don't day trade gap stocks. No, sometimes, but I don't have time for that anymore. I don't have time for it. So when I was out of work, I had more time. But this is a black hole of research. And I've heard it said that, and really to be successful in finance, you have to obsess over this. And I can totally see that. The difference is you have to obsess and actually have an evidence-based approach. So, and that's a, you know, truly an obsession, as opposed to, you know, going over here to Reddit and reading this stuff and feeling good all the time. This is not really, you know, DD in that sense, or research, or the right rabbit hole to be in, because this is all just, you know, positive stuff. Well, unfortunately, research and evidence-based thinking, objectivity, is not feel good all the time stuff. But anyway, when I was out of work last year or whatever, I had a lot more time to do that. Now it's you know, it's just it's hard enough for me to trade the S&P 500 when I'm at work. So I really, you know, I just know I did not play MULN. Didn't even hear about it until it was already, you know, doing whatever. But and I knew, I guess I know myself well enough now, but you know, to not try to jump in on things, you know, that may have already kind of taken place. So I don't know, and I don't, and I don't normally mess around with these little stocks like this. There's just, you know, it's just not really my thing. But you know, that's good for anybody who's, you know, or if you're into Wyckoff mining. Let me see. I'm a boring trader, you know. At the end of the day, I'm boring. I don't play the, you know, hyped up stuff. I don't you know, read the Wall Street bets or whatever, you know. It's like, it's not really, I don't really listen to anybody else. But, you know, this is good though, right? This one's good. We've got earnings coming up. Earnings coming up. And you know, maybe they can strike a deal with AMC, issued the NFT, or issued the dividend in gold. As we know, Jackson Hunter told us from a 2012 article that's possible. It's totally possible. Yeah. So let me just refresh this, and then I'm probably going to get out of here. But, you know, have I heard of Ross Cameron? No, I don't believe so. Who's that? Some trader guy on YouTube? Ah, he's a YouTube like me. I doubt he's like me. I think actually maybe I do know, or I've seen him before. Oh, live trading? Yeah, I don't do that. Oh, this guy. Warrior Trading. Okay. Hi. Yeah, I thought I saw some stuff like that on here. Pretty bad when that comes up, like in the first search results. I want to say that Real P&L might have done something on him. Not. So, Real P&L reviews trading programs, education, and he talks about option trading strategies, but I can't remember if he did or not. I think people have suggested that he do, but maybe not. I mean, humble trader, Jason Bond, Raging Bull, Meet Kevin, and his conclusion is there, is Meet Kevin profitable? He might be profitable, but in order to trade like him, you have to have at least a $2 million portfolio. So, and there you go. Ross Cameron, $5 million last year. Yeah, I mean, I would, right. But how much capital did he start with? Would be one of my questions. Anyway, I don't follow any traders on YouTube really. That's great if, you know, I like that people make money in the market, a lot of money in the market. That's great. But you know, that is not my style at all. That's what leads to, and there's something to be said for people that can follow someone else's trades and be profitable. I think that is a kind of a flawed strategy, because, and it's like kind of sort of like you know, alerts and things like that. I don't like alerts. I don't like following trades, because you're always going to be reactive. It's better to learn why that person, how they found that, how to do that, how to find a setup, how to create a plan, how to set a target, how to execute a plan, how to stick to the plan. It's better to do that than just, you know, and if you can use another person to do that, then that's good, you know. That's great. But I have no interest in being dependent on someone. So I always try to learn. I would always try to learn, you know, more fundamental strategies, so that I could do things myself. And I, you know, I don't have to look very far to see, you know, a group of investors that have basically their whole strategy has been based on what other people are doing. And not only is it based on what other people are doing, it's dependent on what other people are doing, supposedly, which is, it's even more crazy. So I just don't go down that road, really, you know, unless of, you know, like a crazy type of, you know, thing, then, you know, but it's a risk reward type of calculation. So, but yeah, you'll never see me show my portfolio. You'll never see me live trading on YouTube. I don't talk about what position. I mean, I talk about, yeah, I trade SPY options, but you know, I'm not going to talk about specific contracts or how much money I made or lost. I'm not going to get into that. That's not really what I'm about. But you know, more about concepts and things. So Audrey says, prefer to get to the party early than exhibit the patience to wait for the other guests. Exactly. And you know, there's a reason why all these people, like Wrench Capital, for example, he has option alerts or you know, alert signals and things like that. And you know, whenever I've helped anybody get started in trading options, that's one of the first things that I advise against, is using those types of services, because it will create this dependency. It will prompt you to be reactive instead of active in your strategies. So yeah, I totally agree. Do I like TA? Do I do TA? Sometimes, you know, it depends, but maybe on longer term, not so much intraday. I'm not really big on that. More so, moving averages, volume profile analysis, support and resistance levels, less trend lines and wedge patterns and bullish inverted hammer candles and things like that. I think that a lot of these TA concepts made a lot more sense or more applicable when you had humans doing most of the trading. We were talking about this yesterday in finance chat. That, you know, a lot of these concepts are maybe modeled now by the algorithms, but it's simulated in the sense that it's simulating human emotion and investing psychology. So, you know, is it really, you know, really applicable? That's not to say that a bull flag pattern is not going to play out in an uptrend, and we're not going to break out into an uptrend. I mean, I'm not saying that, but just taking AMC as an example, you know, versus a company that is trading on its fundamentals, they're not going to necessarily both be able to be analyzed by the same types of analytical concepts or tools. So with AMC, you know, like Trey's SPY chart where he had those lines, how many times did he move the line, you know, like over the summer last year into the fall? He had this wedge, this huge, you know, bull flag thing that was supposed to pop up. It was supposed to shoot up higher again, and it's like, okay, but you know, like, what about those? What about those lines indicates anything about? You're literally looking at a chart of the price over time. Like, this is not really, you know, it's kind of a non sequitur to me, but a company that's trading on fundamentals may be different. But could I make a video on how I go about doing that? I could. Day trading is like chasing cars. Yeah. It's like counting blue cars. The problem I have with day trading is the greed makes me trade too many hours of the day. Certainly, greed, yes, comes in. If you're trading on a small account, it's almost inevitable that you'll get trapped in a position, and you're dealing with 3-day trades. So, seems like that's the new key learning, the set it and forget it algorithms, playing chess with a computer. Yeah, and I'm skeptical of that stuff, certainly. And this is where I think the apes have really squandered their chance, their opportunity. We talked about this in chat the other day too. If you think about it, and I'm not trying to be conspiratorial or any of that stuff, but just looking at the facts. The market is controlled by proprietary algorithms that are deployed by a private company that is, and private companies, not just one. I shouldn't have it on there where I'm seeing Citadel on the screen, because it's like everything doesn't revolve around Ken Griffin. A lot does, but you have these proprietary companies that are deploying proprietary algorithms that are highly developed models, and it's crazy to think that at one time, and I really like history of markets, and all that kind of stuff, that was once all humans doing it. And now we have a model of that. We have a simulation of that, essentially. And I've said this before, the market is a simulated market, I think. And you can take that however you want. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm not saying it's a scam. But there is an aspect of simulation that's at work in terms of, not simulation in terms of the Matrix, really, but simulation in terms of Baudrillardian simulation. It's a symbolic representation of a market we have. There's literally aren't buyers and sellers, live buyers and sellers always trying to find the best price naturally and organically. Maybe there is, maybe not. That's the point. We don't know. It's a black box. The market is a black box now, outsourced to private companies which do the processing, do the matching. And I'm of the opinion personally that if it's a public market, it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be a black box. It shouldn't be proprietary algorithms that are totally opaque. That really doesn't make sense to me. And really, if I'm being honest, this retail movement of 2021, quote unquote movement, should have focused on those things rather than one stock. Rather than saying, you know what, Wall Street is messed up. Wall Street is cheating us. We deserve to be rich. I want $1.7 million a share on AMC. I mean, that's ridiculous. You're just being as greedy as the people that you want to change. That's not how you change it. But there are legitimate concerns, I think. There might be legitimate concerns. But again, the human element of greed, like Chris said, took over, and it became about this narrative that, is ultimately, what has it resulted in? Now we have, potentially millions of investors, retail investors, that are less informed as a result. And Ken Griffin and Citadel and Virtu and Sigma it is, and all those proprietary market makers are richer than ever, and that is probably not going away. And payment for order flow has taken over every brokerage. And is it bad? Is it good? There are arguments on both sides. But at the end of the day, the market is opaque in that sense. So I think that we should be able to see what's going on to a better degree. And think about this. The SEC should be able to see what's going on to a more microscopic level. They don't have the technology to even monitor high frequency trading. They don't have the technology. And that's, you know, that's an issue. I don't want to get into these social discussion. I don't want to get into discussions about, you know, the organization of society necessarily right now, because it's already getting late. But at the end of the day, these are problems with our system at large, really. You are always going to have the exploitation of systems, knowledge, capital, all of that stuff in a system that where everyone is to amass as much personal wealth as possible. It will never be fair, in other words. It will never be fair. So, and certainly working within the system that we have, you know, it's hard to see how that could really change. Maybe certain things could be changed, but I mean, do you really see something like, and I'm not saying yes or no to payment for order flow, and I would rather go for triple-digit % gains too than an eighth of a point. I don't want to mess. That's why I don't really, you know, but so anyway, lost my train of thought. But I'm not saying yes or no to payment for order flow because I don't know really at the end of the day. On one hand, you wouldn't have all of this retail participation if it weren't for payment for order flow, but also most retail traders lose money, so that's just money that went to the market because the uninformed investors. So it's good for Wall Street, and it has a potential to be good for investors, but if it's going to be if it's like this where you have all of this nonsense out here, then, you know, maybe it's not. Maybe it should cost $15 to place a trade. Maybe that would filter out all of these people, which, you know, would be bad for the market. Maybe be bad for Wall Street. Would be bad for liquidity. I don't know, but the reality is we have what we have. I don't see it going away simply because, for the same reasons that I don't see a lot of regulation coming into things, and also why I don't see the SEC really kind of gaining any gusto and taking the bull, but pun not intended, by the horns, and, you know, trying to see what's going on. I think they just go for the low-hanging fruit because it's easy, and they, you know, and they just hand out fines. And because they make so much money, these firms, it's easier for them to pay the fine than to comply with the regulations. And it's a mess, really. But most institutions in our quote-unquote democracy at this point are corrupt. That's kind of the reality. Like, think about Congress. Our lawmakers are controlled by industry, special interests, lobbyists, lawyers. That we know that. So why is it such a surprise to find out that Wall Street is like that? That it's about making money. You know, that's the point, really. So and you know, you're right that payment for order flow is not legal in many countries, including Canada. So, you know, just our neighbors don't have this payment for order flow system. I haven't really looked into the Canadian Stock Exchange much, so I don't know much about it. But I do know that it's not legal in most European countries, the UK as well. But we're also talking about, you know, a different, you know, still capitalist systems, but more of a social democracy type of context. So that's different, you know, and we're also talking about countries that have things like universal health care and public utilities and things like that, whereas the United States, for better or worse, and probably worse, ultimately for the people, we've privatized everything. And that's the neoliberal Reagan, deregulation, 80s and beyond that we've had, which corresponds to the era of the market going crazy, the era of corporate profits going crazy, the era of corporations themselves becoming financialized. And there's a great book called The Great U-Turn by, I actually have it right here, Bennett Harrison and Barry Bluestone. They're two finance professors, and it talks about this phenomenon that I'm talking about that happened in the late 70s, early 80s, and beyond, this era of financialization where, it became less about that. This is the period when pensions started going away. This is the era when things became deregulated, the airlines, the telephone system, all that type of stuff. And it's good for some and it's bad for others. But this is taking on a much larger context. But it's hard really to talk about it without putting it in that context. So the same thing happened ultimately in the stock market, I suppose. And when everything's for profit, it's, what's the ultimate purpose? What is the goal? Just like in this thing here, it's like, what do you really want? If your goal is entertainment, then and not profit, you're going to get knocked out because everybody else is trying to make money. And I've seen a lot of different things, read a lot of different things, and there's actually a really interesting channel called Wall Street Insider, and it has this series that I would recommend to everybody because it gives you an interesting look into the early 2000s. Well, actually, no, it's right around the financial crisis, but this show called Wall Street Warriors. I don't know what channel it was on originally. I never heard of it until the other day. But you see a lot of floor trading. This is like mid to late 2000s when floor pit trading was still a thing. And they show, you see the Chicago Option Exchange. You see this lady is she's the CFO of Thinkorswim. Like Tom Sosnoff is in it. Like it's actually a pretty legitimate show. I mean, it's a reality show, but I mean, still, it's really interesting to see because this is kind of like the payment for order flow transition was sort of happening then. This was around the time of the financial crisis. I would recommend it. It's on this channel, Wall Street Insider. But this is this represents sort of a different period of transition in the market. But at the end of the day, we have what we have, and I'm not saying that it can't change and that it's not noble or whatever to advocate for that. I do think that it's probably better to have a vision and have something that you want rather than just simply reacting against it, saying we're getting screwed and this is fraudulent and whatever else. That's partially why I try to, when I'm like talking about these guys and stuff, I'll make fun of them and, because it is ridiculous, but I'll try to represent what's actually going on. Like, okay, if they're talking about this, let's go look at the Mosley clip and let's analyze it. Let's stop it and listen to what they say and stop it and actually think about those words and realize that that they're misrepresenting it. So trying to, at least promote that. But, and payment for order flow was created by Bernie Madoff. That's the big, it's not really a joke. It's true. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it was conceived as a scam. And I'm certainly not defending like a scammer. But I mean, Bernie Madoff is a good example of what I was kind of getting at with this Wall Street Insider, that I lost the point I was trying to make because I started thinking about this show. But this show kind of shows you how greedy and disloyal and profit focused Wall Street is. Like, you see it here. Like, you know, you get this idea from, like, having brokerages like Robinhood and Fidelity and stuff. You know, you tend to think that maybe that, like, you know, it's not like that because you're just interacting with an application on your phone. But, you know, underneath that is a very greedy, incestuous, inbred, you know, dysfunctional system, I believe. And that doesn't mean you can't make money, you know, and that's another thing that I try to stress is that just because it's, you know, you're working in a system that Bernie Madoff created, that doesn't mean that, you know, that you're going to get taken for it, a ride. And yeah, it would be nice if things would change, but it'd be nice if a lot of things changed. It would be nice if there were meaningful change that was affected after 2008. You know, in terms of what happened there. It would be nice if a lot of things changed. I don't think that we will make it change by playing their game, though. And that's really the biggest blow to this whole ape narrative that I think that I could probably throw, is that now, and I've been saying this from when I had a channel last summer that got removed from YouTube last November. Whole other story, but I said it then, I said it this time, and now we have proof, actually. Citadel made record profits in 2021 because of retail investors engaging in the stock market. They had stimulus money, they had time, they had apps with which to do it. So they cashed in. A lot of people lost money in the market. A lot of people didn't, you know, make a lot of money, whatever. But the point is here that if you think that you're sticking it to Wall Street by buying and holding one stock, now there's proof that all you did was line Wall Street's pockets more. And you generally speaking, a lot of times, like, meaningful change has to come from outside of the system. You can't work within the stricture of the system itself and really create anything meaningful in terms of change a lot of the times. Like, revolutions have to happen, and that's necessarily happens like you know, from outside, and we come in and for better or worse say, no, we're doing it this way, and, you know, I'm willing to fight to the death for it, and things like that. So, you know, it's I think that it should change, and I would love to see that. So, you know, and here's Chris saying, payment for order flow, we get 0 commissions, best price orders, enabling marketable limit orders, and smaller spreads. And those are all true. Those are all true. And, you know, you have the national best bid and offer, which you're always going to at least get that price, theoretically, or better. So you might, in between the spread. A lot of times you do, or the spread's a penny wide. 0 commissions. That's cool. I mean, I would like to see the pattern day trading rules go away. I think that would be good for advanced traders because they could actually make some money, not get stuck in stocks, and it would be good to accelerate the demise of uninformed, and that sounds bad, but if you're going to lose money, you're going to lose money, I think. You know, and on one hand, it's like, just let them lose money. And I think it's more of a, you know, whatever, I don't know. But for you know, profitable traders, certainly, there's got to be a better way to do it than like an archaic limit or an account balance limit. So I'd like to see that change, and that's another thing that the apes could have advocated for. Why do we have this? Let's shorten the settlement cycle. Let's modernize that. Let's combine. Let's try to this piecemeal market. That's all these different markets that are cobbled together. These are concerns, but ultimately at the end of the day, it takes money and it takes knowledge and the market structure, which I'm not an expert at. Neither are the apes. They try to be, but anyway. I think they abused it in the worst sense, and I would agree that they've abused it. I think it's it is odd to me that so much money is made on this stuff. Just because a lot of money is made doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. I get that. But we're talking about the public, supposedly publicly traded companies. I can tell you, if I were a CEO, if I had a company that was able to be taken public, there is no way in hell that I would want my company exposed to this lunacy. I mean, it's insane. Now, maybe if I were a CEO, I would be much greedier and I would be in a different mindset, and I'm not a CEO. I'm basically a middle manager type of person, who's worked his way up from, hourly work. So, I'm not an executive. I don't come from that pedigree, but because, I have the background I do, I guess, and coming from that and getting involved in the markets, I would not want something that I put blood, sweat, and tears into to build on these markets. No way. Absolutely not. I'd raise private equity and it's because it's insane. Maybe it would be different. I don't know. But yeah. Chris says T+2 settlement to T0 would remove the need for PDT. T+2 holdover from the days of calling them broker, right? So yeah, and that's what you can have a credit card, a debit card, a electronic payment system where I could be in Paris, and use my credit card at a cafe, and go on my phone immediately after that and see the transaction, and I'm from the United States. We should be able to settle these trades in less than 2 days, 100%. But because it's a private system, ultimately the DTCC is a private corporation. The brokerages are the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, when I say private, I mean, a for-profit. Make that distinction, because the New York Stock Exchange is a private, or is a for-profit corporation. So, and so you're talking about having these so regulation would have to be put in place, but then you have to, these private corporations then, or these for-profit corporations then have to make these investments, and then that's getting into a whole other thing. But the New York Stock Exchange is owned by ICE, Intercontinental Exchange, which is publicly traded. So that it's weird. But at the end of the day, what would be interesting to do maybe sometime would be to look at the foreign markets. Look at the Canadian stock exchanges. Look at the London Stock Exchange. Look at German Stock Exchange, etc., and see how they're structured, and see the differences. I think that would actually be very interesting. So maybe I'll do that sometime. But again, we're talking about a different social system that is in many ways kind of fundamentally based in some different principles that the United States never adopted, unfortunately. So, but we have our freedom, right? You can carry a gun in my state now without a license at all, and things like that. So you have those freedoms, but anyway, the illusion of freedom. But this is a good discussion, though. This is a really good discussion, and I think that it is relevant and it is interesting to talk about. But at the end of the day, I also say it doesn't matter, and I've said that before. And the apes don't like to hear that, but a lot of retail investors have bigger problems than payment for order flow and who's executing their trades and what venue or on exchange, off exchange, and all that stuff. That really, at the end of the day, is less. It's less of a problem than I think a lot of people think, because of a lot of the things that Chris has said here. Best price, zero commission, tight spreads. So those are good things, and that allows you to get into a trade immediately, get out of a trade immediately, provided that you have the day trades available or you have the capital in your account to not have to worry about it. So really, it's not really something that is that pressingly relevant, but I think the danger is that maybe it could get worse, or it could be become more slanted, or do we even know how slanted it might be? Because, like I said, these systems are opaque, they're black boxes, they're private, they're run by private entities, proprietary, that's the word. They're proprietary. If I'm going to put my money into a market, maybe I should have the ability to know or to see the gears in the machine. Like, I know I'm not going to be able to understand all of it, but if you are not letting me see any of the equipment, that to me is a red flag. It's really a red flag that, okay, I'm just supposed to trust this, and you're saying that the price is doing this, or you're saying that this, XYZ, whatever. And Chris is, right here. The problem with the apes having with payment for order flow is they suspect that there's delayed price discovery, which is not really. It's not. I don't know where they got that from. Where did they get that idea from? Where did they get the idea that dark pool trades don't affect the price? Where did that come from? Like, why is that a thing? I don't even like the term dark pool, really. I mean, that makes it sound like it's a scam. It makes it sound like it's should be on the dark web or some shit like that. Like, and you're literally talking about what the dark portion of is the order book. So you can't see the limit orders that exist on that exchange. So think of it as an exchange. You just can't see the order book, but there exist buy orders and sell orders that get matched the same way. They have the feed from the market supplying the national best bid and offer, and they have a link to report the trades back to the consolidated tape. So they do get reported. You can see them on Fidelity's time and sales window scroll by. So, and it doesn't matter how many times I have mentioned this, or anybody has. Bad Back mentioned it here. There's this persistent myth that they're holding the orders. I think that Lou said that originally. They're delaying your orders, or the orders don't affect the price. I mean, yeah, orders for 1 share, 5 share, 10 shares, 100 shares, 1,000 shares. Even a 1,000 share order might not affect the price. because at the same time that you're buying 1,000 shares, somebody else is selling X number of shares. So it's really a question of market. That's why I tried to show in the video last night that I did, because you can literally see it. You can see all these buy orders, and you can see the price change as a result of the orders that are coming in. And it's just like just an oversimplification of the market that I see. And yeah, I know that I know Chris, but I just wonder where that comes from. Like, where did they get that idea? Like, did it just come out of a naive, ignorant approach, or like, and there's probably no answer to that. I mean, I went back and watched one of Short the Vix's videos, like, from like May, and it was like so bad. Like, he was talking about dark pools are, private exchanges for institutions to trade large block orders or some shit like that, like super textbook definition, like, and it's like, dude, okay, on one hand you're going to complain about quote unquote dark pool trades, and you use it as a squeeze catalyst or as a point of manipulation and fraud, which is ridiculous. But on the other hand, same person, different hand, you're going to literally use a payment for order flow brokerage, and you don't even put two and two together. Like, all of Trey he was on Webull, and then I find out last night that Webull's not even showing the lit exchange orders. Like, you have to pay to get New York Stock Exchange, like, quotes or time and sales entries. I mean, that's absurd. That's absurd. How is that legal? So you have a brokerage out there that's putting out basically incomplete data. Most people don't know it's incomplete, so then they turn around and use it to supposedly prove manipulation in the markets. I mean, that sounds like some fucking, like, geopolitical, like that. I don't know. Okay, I'm not making any allegations, but like, and it doesn't matter who it is, what country the firm is from, but I mean, the fact that it is a foreign owned company, so you're basically sowing the seeds of doubt in the U.S. capital markets, in a sense. Might be a little bit reactionary of a take, but I mean, it doesn't seem like that much of a stretch to me. Like, how is that not regulated? Like, I mean, you should have to show where the stock is listed. You should have to show that exchange at least. Come on. Okay. All right. Yeah. Anyway, that's crazy. That is crazy. They also do misunderstand the whole ETF shorting thing, for sure. And yes, Chris, you can see dark pool orders on time and sales. You're 100% correct on that. You can see it. You can see the exchange code depending on your brokerage. Fidelity uses 2 different ones, but yeah. So, and I've showed that many times before. And a lot of the times when you see those dark pool trades on the time and sales, they come in right in the middle of the spread. So there's your reason why your one share order isn't pushing the price up. Well, there's 2 reasons. It's a 1 share order, and it was at the mid price. So, you're not going to have any impact because it's a 1 share order anyway. So fractional shares, I don't even get me started on, but whatever. So yeah, I mean, the ETF shorting thing, that gets really confusing too, by the way. Like, I don't even want to go into that right now, but the ETF, how ETF shares are created, and how the short interest works is very complicated. And there's a whole, I looked at it one time. I mean, I haven't looked at it since last year, so I don't even remember. And it was over my head, so I didn't really worry about it. And I'm glad I didn't, you know, because yeah, it's like they think that you could take shares out of the ETF. And God, I forget the details of how that worked, but there's a whole thing, like a whole thing. Anyway, guys, I'm losing steam here. I'm getting kind of tired. So, how about if I play the famous the famous Ape Father video? I don't know if Tesla Model 3 guys here or not, but this is, you know, the fact, if you'd have to resort to this, it's like the automatic. If the apes don't understand something, then it's nefarious. Well, that's, you know, that's the whole point. Exactly. You know, and the Occam's razor, like the simplest explanation, and it's actually more complicated than that, which is kind of ironic, but like the actual Occam's razor source or whatever, but colloquially, like the simplest explanation is usually correct. Like, it's like they don't, like theirs is always biased to the nefarious, to the manipulative, to the fraudulent. And, you know, I mean, it's just, if you've been here this long, you know that how we look at it is that the actual manipulation and fraud is occurring in this social movement of the apes. And, you know, it is easier to scam someone than to convince them that they've been scammed. It's easier to create these mythological boogeymen like Ken Griffin. And I'm not a fan. You know, we talked about it. I'm not a fan of the whole model, you know, really, in terms of the way that it's been implemented, the way it's overseen, and the amount of money that's being made from it. Okay, the fundamental, you know, the material reality of being able to trade for free and all that kind of stuff is one thing, but the fact that you have these firms making so much money is kind of a red flag. It's opaque. It's proprietary. We don't know. All right. But at the end of the day, you have this fool in a mask here, which, and I am a proponent of masks. But, you know, it's just how he chooses to be identified, I guess. But this guy with the mask, and he's the only one, so you can say that. You know, he's created this hatred, this cultivating this mythological, you know, view of Ken Griffin, or of Citadel, or of whatever, and it's just that's classic manipulation. You know, it's right out of the cult handbook. So, but that's how we look at it, and you know. Here we go. So, again, thanks. It's nice to see some new names in here tonight. Audrey, thanks for hanging out and chatting and whatnot. Hope to see you around again. And, yeah, maybe we'll go into, I don't know what I just clicked on there, but maybe we'll do another live stream Sunday or so. And in the meantime, I'll catch you in the finance chat over on Telegram, working on a Discord, working on that. I just don't have time for this stuff anymore. But, you know, it's just, it's my little project, I guess. So, anyway, here we go.
I'm going to scare everybody in the movie theater. You can't kill Michael Myers. It's impossible. But what you can do is buy AMC stock. Millions coming, baby. AMC stock. You want to be a millionaire? AMC, I'm an ape. They call me the ape father, baby. You can't kill Michael Myers, but you can become a multi-millionaire, baby. AMC in the house. Wow!
Oh, man. Oh, jeez. One more time.
I'm going to scare everybody in the movie theater. You can't kill Michael Myers. It's impossible. But what you can do
can you imagine?
AMC stock.
Now, okay. I think it was Manuel one time. Or was it Bad Back? We're saying, did you see the blah, 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 the girl with the cup? I can't remember.
But what you can do is buy
the guy with the cup.
AMC stock. Millions
they don't care.
Coming, baby. AMC stock. You want to be a millionaire? AMC, I'm an ape. They call me the ape father, baby. You can't kill Michael Myers, but you can become a
this guy's got a
baby.
blanket
AMC
on.
in the house. Wow!
Just trying to notice different things in this. In the background, these people that are walking by that are like, what in the what is this guy's problem? And if you were down 150K, probably be zapping out in public too, right? So, yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine being down that much personally, particularly on one stock. That, wow. Now, have we actually seen it? Have we actually seen it though? You know, that's the question. But that once you start going down that line of thinking, it doesn't. So you have to just assume that you have to take it at face value. I understand. We've been through that before, because proof and evidence is not in the ape lexicon, because they're full of shit. Boom.
Roll another blunt, man.
Roll another blunt, man. That's what the apes say. Roll another blunt, man. Yeah, it was October, right? Yeah, October 16th. Maybe someday I can meet Afro Man and, tell him that, hey, I used your song in all my videos. That would be cool. YouTube copyright algorithm doesn't pick it up, so they don't. And I was surprised the first time I used it, and it was like, when you upload a video, it's like checks for copyright. It's like, no copyright violations found. I'm like, really? That's crazy. So I found my outro song now, because Oh man, yeah, it's a train wreck for sure. But I guess in true middle class white guy fashion, I can feel some kind of better or something, because I've tried to do something. I don't know. It got to the point where it was just like, I can't believe what people are saying. And if you think it's bad on YouTube, I mean, you got to go over to Reddit and see that. I mean, it's just, I understand it's Reddit, I understand it's the internet, whatever else, but wow, this kind of stuff is not to be taken seriously, in my opinion. But oh, excuse me. It's midnight here on the Eastern Daylight Time zone. So yeah, it's so interesting because there's so much projection, reflexive FUD. Forgot about that term. FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that originates from within this community of AMC investors and is targeted back to the AMC investing community. So it's reflexive. It comes back to themselves. So they are misleading each other. Essentially, that's kind of where I was going with that. But that's all what all this stuff is. All of it. Look, somebody's fortune cookie fortune said 21 million is your lucky number this month. Well, that means that the MOAS is incoming, of course. If retail owns and holds 80 to 90% of the float, institutions own 30%. Well, but that's not true, though. Apes don't own 80 to 90% of the float. They don't. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. Jeez, how is Citadel fulfilling the purchase orders? Well, you want the real answer? They're naked shorting it. Yep, they're naked shorting it, but they're allowed to. That's what the law says. That's how you're able to buy it. That's how this shit works right now. And then they go ahead and cover the obligations. So they have to buy it. Anyway. Thanks again for checking out my video live stream. Have a good night. Catch you later. See ya.